good here. Anna's updating her Zoom. All right. Looks like sound is good.
And I'm going to go ahead and copy.
Read way more fiction. I don't read much fiction.
Are you mostly reading nonfiction about geography?
Well, first of all, I want to stay current with current affairs, so it's like Economist and stuff like that. That takes up. I listen to that more than I read it now, thankfully. So when I'm out walking the neighborhood and stuff, then exactly. They have the audio version of the magazine, and then it's a whole bunch of others I need to read. I think Greyhawk stuff and or stuff like that, RPG things, whatever. So so it's mostly. Yeah, it's a mix of gaming related and current affairs stuff. Yeah.
Have you read, more to the point, have you read The Great Grimoire #1?
Yes, I have. And I like what I read. Yeah.
Nice. Well, then you'll really like the next issue. We're going to have 14 authors.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wish to be one of them soon, so yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. One of the things that I'm doing, I mean, we'll talk about it during the show, but I'm really encouraging people, if you have a 5,000 word or a 7,000 word, longer article, go ahead and send it to us. We'll clean it up. We'll publish it. But if you have 500 words on a character or a magic item, or even less on a magic item, we can put it together in a compiled article. We can do that, right? You don't have to write a really long piece to get published in the zine. If you've got 1,000 good words, we can do that. Especially if it comes with art, or if we have time. If you send it to me in advance, I can put in an art order for it.
And those in the middle,
Cool.
Yeah, Norker, that means the thing is we can really emphasize like wonders and oddities of the Flaness.
Yes.
Isn't just me, it's open for everyone to do
Yeah,
their
I'm going to
own.
mention that specifically on the show, and I'm going to call out Treasure Chest and Bazaar of the Bazaar.
Yeah, I was gonna pitch those, and I was gonna pitch also the
full color art.
well, there's an approach. There's a couple of things that I'd recommend people look at when they're thinking about that.
Providing
those things in Dragon Magazine. You remember when they had the stuff about the Falcon's Market?
Oh yes,
These
yep.
incredible
that kind of
tomes
stuff, where it's
are
flavor.
filled with
Yes.
demons and angels.
It does
devils,
not all
and
have to be
celestials,
magic
unleashing
items,
the
although
powers
magic
of
items
good
are
and
very
evil,
cool. It can
law
be
and chaos
trade
on
goods,
your table.
a historical
Cronus
artifact,
is
just a
infernum
thing that
and
has
exaltum,
cultural
bringing
significance for a
creatures hallowed
particular
and profane.
group or locality. Or it can be a magic item, and a magic item can be all those things too. Yeah, Falcon's Market. That was Dragon Annual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the one. That's with the Angon and the.
No smells, but
Which Dragon Annual was that?
First one, I think.
was
Right?
Yeah, there were actually two of those.
The map
Oh,
with the map? The dreaded map one?
Falcons, we're good.
We'll
Greyhawk.
look it up.
Yeah,
I know what you're
I've got
talking
my copy here.
I got my sweet skunk beard. Now it's come in all salt and pepper. Yeah. Somebody was like, "Are you gonna dye it?" I'm like, "No, getting older. Why would I pretend?" It actually, I think it looks nice like this. I need to just trim it a little bit. It's kind of
It
raggedy
looks-
right now.
Yeah, but it looks good. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
is this a challenge to my beard?
yeah, there's no challenge to your beard. I especially love how Sam, like most salafists, Sam lets the beard grow long, but trims the mustache short.
That's right. That's right. Actually, I take it off as often as I can, but yeah, I got the Lincoln beard stuff for so many years when I was younger.
I gotta ask, Sam,
Yeah.
have you acquired any guilt this season? You still got a
No.
couple days.
No guilt for me.
Sam's gonna show up to some kid's party and be like, "It's all mine now." Oh.
There you go.
My trainer threw this Hanukkah-related story since it's still a holiday. We've got a couple days left. My trainer was telling me that she threw a dreidel at someone's head,
What's up, Jeff?
struck the person in the head. I'm like, "That's not how you play the game." She's like, "I don't know."
All right. Hopefully I got the right thing coming up here.
You
On the hot
play,
side.
you play dreidel the way you want to play it. I'll play it the way I want to play it.
Well, she's not actually Jewish, Sam. And I was like, "That's why they didn't let you join. Throwing the dreidel at people. There are rules." Are the holidays treating you guys well? You're getting ready?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My only thing
I
is
don't-
I'm used to having all this time off, and I don't have any time off because of the new job.
Right. You got to just work.
That's all right.
I love that background there. You've
Yeah,
got
thanks.
with the Hamza.
I can change what's in the window too. I
On
can
the
change
little-
everything. Everything. I can move it all around. All the active stuff. So
Yeah. The library. That's
in this study behind Lord Peaks Haven, Tringley.
nice.
Yep.
Nice.
We were there in Thursday night's game because
Oh.
the legendary Lord Peaks Haven has the legendary drink there that no one's ever down 3 without passing out. They made the attempt and there's a lot of failures.
We're gonna go live in a few minutes. Jay, it's your show, obviously. I want to throw one thing out. If somebody will inevitably ask about like why the zine title change and stuff, I want to keep that really minimal and
We're
basically.
live,
we're
dude, so they
live
can-
right
they can
now,
hear you,
dude.
man.
Oh, good. Then I can tell them the change is that we had different
Don't-
visions, as somebody
Maybe-
said
maybe-
ironically.
We can get there. We can get there.
We can
relax.
get there when we're actually
Oh,
broadcasting.
your
dude.
pick went off.
Yeah, the audio is going out, but the picture they can't see us yet.
No, his pick went off. His pick went
Oh,
off.
Okay.
Yeah, Norker lost his pick. Yeah,
come
relax.
back.
We're good. You're pickless. You have no
Pick,
picture?
pickless. Yep.
Yes, we can hear you. So, hello everyone. Welcome. It's Sunday
Hey,
night,
hey.
right?
Yep. I think it's Sunday night. Yep.
Believe it or not, and this is not me whining with Wes. If you want to use my header mode on me, there you go. You certainly can. That was rough yesterday, man. I love DMing 2 games in a marathon, session, and that was a long day. So we had a lot of fun, and I want to share something before we get into here. I want to share something, and it's from Ed. So I bet you a lot of you don't know this. I know Anna doesn't. I haven't even talked to her about it yet. So I'm gonna go on Twitter, and I'm gonna go on my feed with Twitter, and I may redact a little bit here, but okay. So this is from last night. I said, thank you very much for a fun game, Ed. Let me go here. And this says, thank you. I have the flu. He played with the flu last night, but soldiered through. You probably heard me coughing and sniffling. Because I have my library ladies are down with COVID, so I'm spending the weekend staffing libraries when I really should be about getting over things. So this game tonight was a slog, and you pushed us to the brink. I'm sorry. I just, when Ed Greenwood says this to you, you are brilliant at scaling the party's foes just to the edge of what our characters and the players running them can handle. Thank you. Can't wait to play a person at GaryCon. He had the flu last night.
Nice.
And
I thought he sounded a little rough.
We didn't notice that. He was his own normal, awesome self.
Troy. Thank you. That was the whole point. I'm glad they had a fun time. I'm trying to schedule the lower level group again for the 23rd. So thanks, Rob. So just wanted to put that out there. And one other thing, you'll see it below. Look below the stream. I'm pushing this now. Next to the Now Live is the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo page. Now I got through all that, and just click on that. It'll take you right to tabletop events. There's a code. If you haven't gotten a ticket yet and you want to go, it's in the Philly area. It's Gazumba and then capital Page all together for $15 off the registration. Okay? So just to let you know that for that, if you're on the fence, maybe that'll make the determining factor, and there's the link for it as well. So good to see everyone. Thank you for the kind words, Troy. Thank you, Rob, and everyone else. And so let's get this started. So, Grimoire, Volume 1. Let's introduce the round table of the people we have here. We'll start with Sam and go counterclockwise. How's that? So, Sam, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Sure.
Once again, I'm Sam, Sam Weiss, longtime Greyhawker, contributor to everything. LG admin and editor. Yes, my beard. Thank you, Troy. And here, spamming more stuff into the Great Grimoire.
Cool. Yeah, and we go over this. It's a really great publication. So welcome back. A man who needs no introduction, Les Reno, Oblivion Seeker. Les, welcome back.
Hey, pleasure to be on here, man.
Excuse me. Yeah,
and
we reach out to you for expertise all the time, or for who to go to with expertise. There goes Norker, as I'm about to tell him a welcome, and he just went off. So
he hides for a second.
Having some issues.
Hopefully he'll be back. Yep. There's back again.
There you go. So Les, welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be here again.
And Ewan Cummings, also known as Norker in the community. Welcome back, Norker. And tell us a little bit about the whole thought process of this. I know we were getting into that a little bit before the stream went live, but
I didn't know we were live, but that's fine. We'll get it out of the way at the start. So I proposed a zine back in April on Cannon Fire. Very successful. We put out 2 issues. We had some differences. Gary Hawley wanted to do something a little different than I wanted to do, wrangling back and forth. What we settled on was the zine project, minus a couple articles that we're going over with Gary for further development, at the author's request. The zine project is continued under a different name. We've renumbered, we've retitled, so it's a new zine, but material that you would have seen in Visions 3, it's in Grey Grimoire number 1. And the old Visions title, that was something that Gary Holland had suggested, that specific title. He had plans for it, so we left that there at Cannon Fire, and I hope that you will see some material from him under that title in the future. I don't know what that will look like. I don't know what his plans are. I do know what we're doing, which is this zine, the Grey Grimoire. The first issue is out. We've got material lined up for a second issue. We have other stuff. We are still accepting material from people. And I think that's enough for me to say for right now until you have more specific questions. I want to let the other guys talk too.
Sure. And whoops, the pick went out again. So
it's okay.
It's
going
to start and stop like that. I don't know why it does it. If it cuts out, I'm still here. I can see you.
Okay. So note, I've had some community people reach out to me. Hey, LJ. Fantastic gaming twice yesterday. Everyone say,
yeah, that was awesome,
applause to
Elders. Thank
LJ,
you.
who jumped into the second game after doing the first game, and she lives in the UK, so it was like 3
She
o'clock
was a trooper. She was up until 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's awesome.
absolutely. So
Yep.
that was an awesome thing. But I have, whatever you hear, I am here to promote whatever the community does, right? So let's all create positive experiences for the community.
Absolutely.
Keep that moving forward. Yep, thank you, Les. And keep on crushing it. That is my goal, and I think it should be everyone else's goal here. So with that, I don't know where we should start, but let's. I guess we should just start over. Saturday night is always a good night for gaming. Yeah, it is. Saturday night was a fun night for gaming. And oh, by the way, Anna, Nero went up in both. She's a 6/7 archer thief now.
Awesome!
Yes.
Thank you.
She's the only one that went up in the higher level group. So,
great.
Yes, so that was. I did get well. I'm sorry, I'm babbling. I'm exhausted. One thing, I got a couple people who were saying you didn't kill anyone. Like, I'm not here to kill people. I'm here to tell a story and DM and have fun. And either the whole party's going to die or they're not. Right? One person dies. What's the big deal? Right? I ain't killing.
You did have a fairly spectacular death on one of your Thursday games recently.
Well, that was Les. Thank you. There was a mix of what? The 10 Commandments meets Master and Commander.
Definitely.
Yes, that was awesome. I did get close. I mean, I kicked the crap out of them, and I had fun. I abused them, and I said some things I probably regret saying live on stream. But it was.
Damon wants to say hi to you guys.
Say hi, man. Of course,
Hello.
you can say hi. My son does all the
Hi.
time. My son does all the time.
I'm going to go tuck him in, Jay. So
Sure, you're good. We're gonna get started here and get rolling here. Is that the download there, Sam? Did you put up?
Yep, just put it up.
Free download, everyone, go get it. Okay, free download. It's all. This is Fannin. So this is all. That's the way it's got to be. So I'm going to hit a button here and hopefully I don't crash everything. No, that would never happen.
Except my stuff. All my stuff is now new canon.
What's that?
I've given up heresy. From now on, I'm just writing the new canon.
Grey Grimoire. All right. Issue 1, winter 2023. All right. I want to know about the cover art.
Exactly. That was my
And the
first
logo.
question.
Is
What's
this
the
the logo?
story?
Yeah.
What's the story behind the cover? Yeah.
Oh,
I think
and
that's
of
really
course,
Norker's
that's what we
department.
probably need.
Snorker's department.
That we have to
Norker
wait for
for-
Norker. So
Snorker's
let's
department.
Actually,
so
I believe the cover was selected by Lee, Savage
Mhm.
Baron.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no, Lee had another cover of mine. Norker, Evan picked this cover, and he thought it was more dragony.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a gorgeous
We needed
picture.
a
I
dragon.
just love it. It's fantastic. But what about the name? Is this the first time in the Greyhawk community that the Grey Grimoire has been used, or is it something that's been revived from old aged back in the day, so to speak?
From what we can tell, doing some research, Troy jumped in with some. There are several things out there named a Grey Grimoire.
Uh-huh.
There have been grimoires for Greyhawk fanzines in the past. There have been Grey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Grey, of course,
Yeah.
it's Greyhawk.
Yeah.
From what we can tell, there has not been a specific The Grey Grimoire before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'll bear the brunt of the blame here. That was one of my pitches, as I recall. Because I liked the idea of paying tribute to the old Greyhawk grimoires, the series that ran in Dragon Magazine, and
Mhm.
also it captures that idea that this is a mixture of light and darkness. We're bringing our own sense of balance, I hope, to things, where you have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it all equals out into
Yeah.
a nice little balanced equation in the end.
Nice.
Readers.
Yeah.
So, that was my pitch anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's track down Eric Mengi and see if we could pull in, the Greyhawk Grumbler.
I've been working on him with the Grumbler. He's actually was considering putting out a new publication on it. I think with the right prodding and time, he would do it. No, seriously, I think he would.
Cool.
I think he would
you know,
I think he would
Yeah.
do a Grumbler.
I'd love to see it. I loved working with him on the 3 we did back during, back at the end of Living Greyhawk. Norker, Ewan, there was a question about the logo.
And the cover.
So Giant Stomp made that logo.
Mhm.
Dvorak, you guys know him. And it is, it's a wizard opening his magical book, right? His grimoire.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, the same etymology as a grammar, right? A grammary is a grimoire.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, English was not my best suit, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Who artwork comes from who?
I can't pronounce the guy's name off the top of my head, but if you look in the, I think it's Chinese. If you look in the inside, so this is art that Lee, our layout and design guy, found this art. Yeah, it's right there. Is that Laojian?
Laojian, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he put out all this art, and it's it's free, or it's stuff that is like stock art that Lee has rights to use.
Okay.
So we don't ever publish anything that isn't either free or stock art that we've already got right to use, or that was donated by somebody.
Okay.
We don't have a budget to pay artists. If somebody wants to buy a piece of art and share it with the zine, he can, but that's his own personal,
Right.
I would urge people to own, like the Dan Smith art in here. I think Troy bought a lot of it, right? But he has the right to use it for his own material too. So then I don't feel like we're taking advantage of him.
Yeah. So there, do we know is there a Greyhawk backstory to this picture? Has anyone figured out a story? What dragon is it? Who's that person?
There was some questions about that, but we haven't settled on anything yet. We were debating whether we should do like an on the cover sort of feature like Dragon Magazine sometimes did.
Mm-hmm.
This thing actually reminds me a bit of the not so much in the teeth, but in the spikiness of it, of the Fang Dragon, which is an Ed Greenwood creation from Dragon Magazine.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So I might make it one of those. Those are kind of cool because they're sort of like vampiric type dragons, not undead, but they drain strength with their bite.
Okay.
That's what it reminds me of. Did you guys have a Greyhawk take on it?
I have a thought at least, which would be, I think it would be great if, because I'd like to think myself, I tend to draw a lot of inspiration from the visual arts. I think I've discussed that at length and ad nauseum before. It would be great if people just look at some of these pictures, and not just the cover, but some of the illustrations, and see what it triggers for them, and then maybe submit some pieces inspired by the cover to the Grimoire.
I'm getting vibes here. I'm going to integrate that picture into the legends of something in my game world. Definitely,
and you can write it up
in my
and
campaign.
submit it.
Yeah, I already have ideas. So, but I wanted to hear what there was, because I don't want to contradict anything.
We didn't have a specific thing. So there's nothing.
Okay.
Nothing's been settled. There were a few ruminations. I think I maybe spoke to Lee about it just briefly. This was the second pick. There was another pick which was nice. And then he said, "Oh, I also have this one," and I was like, "Whoa, look at that! yeah, please go with that one." Cool. The other one was good too, and we'll probably use it in the future. But I thought this was a strong. I mean, it just screams fantasy, right? It really seems like it could be out of World of Greyhawk.
It's a gorgeous illustration, and it also brings up another astronomical thing. Do we know how often there is like a solar eclipse in Greyhawk? Does it how often does it happen,
Rick,
so to speak?
right.
And
calendars, Rick Miller, who, by the way, I don't know, has that been mentioned? You guys know Rick Miller of Orth Journal fame? He's content editor for us now. He's come to work on the zine
He's also
team.
in chat.
Yeah,
it's great.
I'm not watching the chat. So anyway, I was really pleased to get Rick on board, and you'll be seeing some of his materials in this first issue. You'll see more of it in the next one.
Awesome.
That's great.
Well, let's scroll.
I was going to say also about the cover. I think one of the things we discussed a lot of old Dragon magazines back during the heyday, and we discussed White Dwarf. And if you remember, they had these great evocative covers.
Oh yeah,
where you could your mind just started going. It's like it triggered you into thinking of what's the backstory of this painting. I remember there's one. Might remember this. You and White Dwarf had that cover of that green skinned guy with his fingers pressed together.
Oh yeah,
and the severed head on the table in front of him.
Yeah, that's like
that I've incorporated. Yeah, something like that. And I've
41.
incorporated that has inspired so many scenes in my campaigns.
Excellent.
And it's just the idea of that again. Let it inspire you, and submit ideas inspired by the artwork. Let the artwork take you, and hopefully it acquires some kind of it has a Greyhawkian flavor. It has an old school flavor. So
inside note, that's actually the method that Troy has used for some of the articles that he's done. Cannibal, he'll take like a piece by Dan Smith, and he'll look at it and say, what is this? Is this an item? Is this a monster? Like, what's the story here? And he'll write it from the art. Other times, of course, he has the art made for the specific thing, but sometimes he just takes a piece of art, looks at it, and writes what he thinks it is. So
it looks like we got almost 40 pages of content here, which is awesome.
Well, yeah, we added a bit near the end because I wanted the first issue to be nice and full, right? And credit to Savage Baron for being flexible and working with us on that.
Excellent.
And credit to him for the layout. And,
Sam, can you relink it, please?
Yeah,
Kurt,
it's such excellent work. We really can't praise his contribution enough. I think
it's coming, Kurt. There it is. Just down
it's crucial. There. Yeah, everybody on this is an important member of the team. He has a particularly important job that he does very well for us.
So take this, read it, have fun with it, use it for inspiration, ideas yourself, use stuff verbatim, use it however you want.
Yep.
That's it. Like, for example, I'll give you one of Les's publications, The Elven Trees, right? Guardians. I threw that right into one of my ventures because I loved it so much.
And Jay, just as a tease, I might as well throw out that I believe it'll be an issue 2. When you asked me for some lore about a certain flower.
Yes.
Oh yes, it's in issue 2.
My Pomar's rose.
Yes. Yep, there will be a bit about the Imperial Rose of the Soul. So
nice.
Oh,
nice, because that fit right into the campaign there in the Twisted Forest that we ran live stream, and like I said, I'm trying to tie more and more that I do live. Like last night's 2-part Harvest Moon Festival, the Blood Red Moon into what's going. I'm trying to make it a little more palatable for the lore of Greyhawk. So this is the opening. So just saying thank you. I'm assuming. And telling everyone how. Okay.
It gives the guidelines too for submissions. We don't do AI.
Right.
No judgment on anybody uses it, fan projects, whatever. Just my particular view, and the other guys agreed with me generally on this, is that we want to focus, on human-made creations, right? So we don't use AI. We do have a word count limit. With maybe a rare exception, I really don't want to receive anything longer than 7,500 words. I want to tell you guys that's a lot. A typical magazine feature article is only 3,000 to 4,000 words.
Right.
You can send short stuff in too. We'll talk about that when we get to the articles. There's always room for short submissions. So
we got multiple editions in it. Sam just said there's something here for Pathfinder too, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, yeah, we there's no edition wars here, right? We cover them all. Whatever people write for. You could write something for Hero System if you wanted to. It doesn't even have to be D&D as long as it's Greyhawk.
Yep.
That's the thing. It's got to be World of Greyhawk. It could be a fairly generic article that still connects in. That's fine. It could be like a crossover article, like a Spelljammer or Ravenloft crossover, but it's got to have a Greyhawk element. That's the common thread. So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, CNC would be fine. Of course, CNC.
Oh, absolutely. CNC would be perfect. Yes. I'd love to see material for it.
All right, let's start it off with Troy. The Oath of the Mariner.
Yes.
So, this is a paladin version of a sea dog, basically, correct?
Yeah. This is like for Osprey or a date. I think Osprey is a particularly fitting one, but any of the marine or sea deities that would have a paladin in 5th edition, this would be a go-to for you. And we're going to have some other sea related paladins coming forward in future issues, but I won't give too much away about that.
So yeah, you got your spells added to the oath, and so it's a lot of it's in 5th edition, set in 5th, which is nothing wrong with that. Your tenants.
I love this kind of variant paladins and various others. This is awesome. This is so good.
Yeah,
and it's easy to adopt to other editions too. Not too difficult.
You can just do a specialty priest spell level ability and stuff like that from 2E. It's really it's an easy conversion over. So what was Troy, since he's not on, what was or Troy put it in chat, what was his inspiration for creating this? That's what I was curious about. So Seablade, Old Mariner's Path Seablade. So Troy may be on and off. I saw him earlier on, but more cool art too. So Avatar the Tempest at 20th level abilities, because everyone ignores the oceans. I had a fight on the water, man, yesterday morning. Come on, I tried on a ship that was on fire.
I know Troy had mentioned to me, because he ran some stuff by me, that he liked William Henry Dvorak's Paladin for Procan, so he wanted to do Paladins for Zerbo or Ostrom. So he has an Oath of the Mariner and an Oath of the Sea.
Mm-hmm.
So
excellent.
I don't want to speak on his behalf, but he had mentioned that to me at one point. So
I especially like the aquatic adaptation feature, because it brings up more than just breathing underwater. It brings up cold resistance and stuff like that, so it's more like survive in the environment, which I think it's really cool. That shows expertise, so to speak, and some more features that is not just be able to hold your breath. You have to survive the cold and other factors too.
I think that's one of the great things about the contributor having fan contributions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Troy brings a particular flavor and a particular set of expertise with his experience in the Navy and everything. And you can tell he loves the sea.
And the buoyancy feature.
Exactly.
Oh, that is. I've never seen that for D&D before, but it's such an obvious thing in when it comes to water-related things, that you should be able to control not only your breathing but your buoyancy as well. So it's
and in chat, Troy just mentioned because everyone ignores the oceans, which I think is another great thing.
So it's
people get
good.
out of their comfort level.
And this is a way to maybe for readers and DMs and players to expand their palette, expand that level of comfort. By using some of this material, trying it out, giving it a run, seeing how it fits in your campaign.
Absolutely.
And the other one, Freedom's Wave, uphold the freedom of the open waters and the free of the unjustly imprisoned. That is a really cool twist, because that brings in the mission of real mariners, but in a fantasy version of it.
Right,
exactly.
You're fighting slavers and pirates, these guys that oppress people and attack
bring it into
towns
the paladin by the seas, so to speak. It's great.
By the way, classic D&D reprints tonight for giveaway. Okay, everyone, sounds good. I'm a little behind on giveaways because I haven't gotten Measurability Authority still hasn't sent me the codes, but everything else is packed from the weekend. So that's all I owe are those. So all right, you just know those oceans just freak you out. Yeah, well, Curtis, it's like this. Aerial combat's hard to do. Water combat's hard. It's out of comfort. That's all. All right, so Troy's got a second one in here. The Arcology of the Tube Worm.
Wow. Yes, indeed.
This is my favorite article of all of them. In
it's up
this
there for me too.
Oh yeah, because and now I need to go off on a rant here, a positive rant, because this is something I love to see, and especially the thing with the role in the ecosystem and the diet and behavior. It's not just like a monster that just happens to have characters on the menu. It's a creature that belongs in the setting and has a place in the setting, and so on and so forth. It's brilliantly done. I love it. It's fantastic. It makes sense. It has a room. It functions in the ecology and stuff. It's fantastic. There are monsters like beholders and a few others that are the odd ones out, created by a god or a wizard or something. But the majority of creatures should be creatures that belong in the environment one way or the other. And I think this is a perfect example of such a creature. So hats off to Troy. I love this one. Yep.
I mean, tube worms are
Yep.
could probably, as long as there's oceans, they'll be down there,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Feeding
and
off the
it's
vents
it's yeah, and it's also an
There is-
example of take a real world creature, because there are tube worms in down in the ocean that does this, so to speak, and have the same behavior, but you can just scale them up, and you can scale things up or you can scale them down and tweak them a little bit, and you have a very interesting fantasy thing, so to speak. And in this case, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I love the fact that it also is one of these creatures that adds to the ecosystem, meaning it breaks things down and add nutrients and stuff into it. So it's not a predator. It's a creature that enables other creatures to be around. And that is something I also miss in monster books, because the monster books are chock full of predators, but we have not that many that are prey or enabling creatures, so to speak, that are really important. If you go out anywhere in the real world, 80-90% of the critters, they do something else than hunt others, big ones, so to speak.
Awesome.
They're also predators of predators and so on in long chains. And we have the top predators are everywhere in monster books, but the rest is not that. And this one it's not a benign creature, but it's a creature that is multifaceted and stuff.
And-
So yeah.
And just picking up from what you were saying, I noticed in chat, Curtis mentions sharks, sawagan, and drowning. And that'd be the thing, is that you have, it's okay to have those wild supernatural
Mm-hmm.
critters on the loose, but it becomes far, I think, more interesting for DMs and players when those are offset with more naturalistic
Yep.
threats.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. It's like you
Yep.
have your sawagan, you have your
Mm-hmm.
eldritch abominations living under the sea, but then you
Yep.
also have the natural perils or the variations on natural perils.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, Troy is really masterful.
Yep.
And
one
at
yeah.
conveying that kind of
example of creatures
grounded realism.
That could be and tie into the ocean is like giant clams.
Yeah.
You can have that. They are around in the real world. Just make them twice the size, and they can, when they open, you can fall into them, and then they close again, and you can be screwed up. They're not supposed to eat you, but you can also make them predatory. When they're that big, they might suck in things and then close and then vent out the water and eat whatever comes into it. And that means that there might be big predators that not eat a lot of other things, but they eat giant clams. They are good at opening them. There might be a use for giant crabs or whatever and stuff. So try to invent an ecosystem. And I think this tube worm is a perfect example of something that could be a building block in an ecosystem, so to speak. Here's an example of in the water, but you can make similar examples on land and stuff that you can make a more interesting, diverse, fantastic ecosystem that can facilitate a lot of cool fantasy monsters, so to speak, as well. So make supporting monsters, I would like to call them, supporting creatures that can support the fantasy monsters we want to have there to hunt characters and stuff.
Hey, Malvin, good to see you on watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to also say that whenever Troy, forgive me for singling you out here, whenever Troy messages me and says something to the effect of, "Hey Les, can I run something by you?" My heart skips a beat and I nearly swoon, I say. Because I'm guaranteed a good time. It's going to be something incredibly useful. It's going to be something really cool, and it's going to be approached from an angle that other people wouldn't approach necessarily.
Yeah.
The material from, and I'm just so glad to see him contributing to the zine.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
This is awesome. I mean, you think of like Stefan, I got you. You're thinking of this is like in that realm of a thing that's just around. You just don't want to mess with it, and like a Remoraz, it's just there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
it's an interesting challenge rating too, 5, which means that it's in that range where it's useful it can be an accidental boss monster for low-level creatures, and it can still be a difficult nuisance even for higher level creatures. So even in that sense, it's a good monster because it's there in the middle of the range, so to speak, which makes it very useful.
And you could have a scenario like a ship with treasure or something else, a wizard's diving bell or whatever, is now down at the bottom of the ocean, but it's landed in this dangerous environment with superheated water plumes, the black smokers, the weird albino giant crabs, and these tube worms. Like there could be a reason why you have to deal with these things.
Yeah, and they're dumb in that sense that they simply will attack or simply try to evade whatever comes close. It doesn't recognize one from the other. If you're too close, it will try to deal with you, no matter what, so to speak, kind of creature. Yeah.
It's a hazard, and its environment includes all sorts of hazards.
Yeah, it's like a living hazard in that sense. Yeah.
I like that though, because some monsters should just exist as part of the world.
Exactly. And if
not
you come
all
too
be
close,
designed just to interact with you.
Yep.
No, you're in its environment. Why are you there?
Curtis, DM Dave is busting balls about what a challenge rating is. So that's why there's one of these stats. So yes. I got it.
It's dual statted. This is something that Troy does for a lot of his articles. Not all of them, but many of them.
That's another plus with the article. Yep.
So excellent, Troy. Great work. Fantastic work.
I
know Troy's working on something else that we're going to have on soon too.
Oh yeah.
So we'll talk about that. Just the problem is Sundays are going to be bad next couple of weeks with all the holidays. It's Christmas Eve, isn't it? A Sunday coming up in 2 weeks. Yeah, 24th. Yeah, and then New Year's Eve the week after. It's going to be rough for Gabbin's coming up. All right, so Rick is on still. Yeah, go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, we have a question about the font, and my guess it's that Carolinia. It's the same font I'm using on my maps. Is my guess, but maybe that's a question for Lee. Yeah,
I think that's a question for Lee. I honestly don't. I believe you're right, Anna, but I'm not sure.
My guess is it's Carolinia. It's a font that is available on multiple free sites, and it's the one I'm using for the political names on my Greyhawk map. So, yep, that's my guess. It is. Yep.
So, Rick is on, which is great.
Yep.
And this one's called Orthodoxy.
Here's another gem.
The Portal Master of Dalt. And he said, with little tweaking, I could utilize this myself. So, Clark's called the Portal Masters of Dalt have discovered secret openings of portals with planar edges. So, basically, there's specialty priests, Rick, or first edition priests of Dalt, same, that's a semantics issue. So, what is the? Wow, they fold time and space. That's interesting. So, Sam, Les, Norker, give us a little thoughts on this.
Go ahead. Somebody else.
I was going to say, I believe this list is the one we have written for Pathfinder.
Yes, so it is.
That would make it an archetype.
Okay, it's an archetype for Pathfinder. Got it. Okay, well, that's great to hear.
Effectively, although it's close enough, it could be alternate class features for 3rd edition.
Yeah, it's like a subclass or whatever you might call
it. Basically, you swap out one type of energy manipulation.
Yeah.
The priests, spontaneous healing spells and turning undead and all that. You swap that out for a suite of portal abilities that improve in scope and what he can do with them, right? And the magnitude of the portals that he can make, the number that he can make as he levels up. So Dalt is the opener of the ways, a name which reminds me of someone else, Les.
Yes, indeed.
Key in the gate, right?
Yep.
Dalt is the opener of the ways, so he's a god with his silver key. Yeah, there's some Lovecraftian vibe there. But these guys make portals, exactly what it sounds like, right? If you read down this list of abilities, though, there's all sorts of crazy stuff they can do with the portals, and I'll let somebody else go through that. But I was quite taken with this when Rick showed it to me. I was like, do you have anything else shorter that we can put in the first issue, Rick? Because we're still editing this longer piece. And he said, oh, I've got this little thing if you want to see it. And I was like, oh, this is great. Let's put it in right away.
Well,
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, I was going to say it's really cool to see a deep dive into planner kind of teleportation mechanics, portals and stuff, because that is something I'm trying to dig deeper into it for my house rules and stuff. So this will take a lot of inspiration from this, and I also loved that it's tied into a god and a deity and that kind of meaning to it. So hats off to Rick for this article. It's a great one. Yep.
And Rick, even though I don't use Pathfinder, I've got to say that running both 5th and 1E, obviously the connection to Dalt ties it into Rob Kuntz's Moir Castle stuff. And since I do a lot of stuff riffing off of that and riffing off of the idea of playing our excursions and incursions, this is just rich with material for me to incorporate in my campaign. So again, Rick, a great article, and I want to thank you for it.
Yep. So, and if I used Pathfinder 2, I would have probably taken it wholesale. Now I need to tweak it a bit to suit my own house rules, so to speak.
Is there in the article? I love that picture too. Is there an article? Rick, I'm sorry, because you gotta remember I'm so brain dead here. Is there where their places of worship are? Like, is there one? Is this like how the world at Zen Tavern got it's how it is, or you know what I'm saying, or is it you left it to the person who reads this to just make that determination, or do you have it in your campaign and you just didn't add that in the article? I'm just curious to see, like, where are these in those where are they doing this in Greyhawk? Does that make sense? The question I'm asking. I just wanted to know that, so let's see what he says. I left it open to fit in wherever. There you go. All right, thanks for the answer on that, sir. Cool. So, yep.
Yeah, he mentions he left it open to fit in wherever.
Hey, Garner.
So.
Good to see you, Garner. Hope things are going well.
Yeah.
Or is it Tempest? Thank you very much. I know Gary Con is. You guys were running over at Gary Con. It's good to see you. So I know.
I want
to
throw one more thing out about this article that I like, Jay.
Yeah, please.
There's a science fiction element in this that I like a little bit of sci-fi mixed into my fantasy for, on occasion, right? Like Barrier Peaks and stuff. And there's a little sci-fi element to this too, to this piece. And so I quite enjoyed that he included that.
Okay. Excellent.
I'll leave it up to the reader of the article to find that.
So, this has got to be the legendary Snowlock, Snowball Swarm, John Collins.
No.
Rick
said it's the player. It's his player.
Oh, it's his player, John Collins.
Yes, who played the character in his game.
Yeah, his backwards name. Yeah.
There's Baron. Baron's on. Good to see you, man.
There he is.
The question came up about font. What fonts are these? If you could share that, please, sir. So.
Oh, it's Carolingia, I think, but now we have Lee, so you can answer that. So, yep.
Very cool. So, wow, this article. This goes on a long time.
Stat blocks for 3 and Pathfinder, they're intense, but it's this is fully useful. Like, you can take this if you're running this system, and you can run the whole thing. He didn't leave out any stuff that you need to know as the DM.
Okay.
But he left plenty of room for expansion to fit it into the world. But all the mechanics and stuff you need, they're there.
Cool.
Yep. Thank you, Lee. That confirmed what I suspected.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a font that is very similar to the style that the calligraphy that Darlene made on the Greyhawk map. That's why I picked it for the political names on my Greyhawk map. So it has a very strong kind of Greyhawk tangential connection. So yeah, I like it. Yep.
So I got one more question for Rick. Are these Portal Masters a rare occurrence in here comes Gary Con live. Awesome.
Hello.
Hey,
welcome.
Gary,
hey guys.
and everyone, are they rare in the priesthood, or are all priests of Dalt portal masters? That's my question. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, is it like in that specialty priest genre where all portal masters are priests of Dalt and all priests of Dalt are portal masters? If that
That's a
makes
good
sense.
question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So good to see you all. We're talking to Grey Grimoire. So here, I'll just scroll up real quick for all our new people watching in. It's a brand new publication in zine out by the community. Please, Sam, if you could relink that for our people who just rated in, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and while we talked about fonts, the font used on the cover is probably the font that I helped Darlene, and she did it. The Greyhawk font that Darlene created with a little bit of help from me. And it should be available on my website. If not, I'm going to overhaul it, make sure that it is available. And it's also a font you can use for free for non-commercial purposes. Like this is a perfect example of what you can use it. If you want to use it commercially, you can send Darlene some money on PayPal or something like that.
yes.
Yep.
I mean,
I get a license
I bought her font and now it's up top. I use her fonts on my streams, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's not a lot of money. So excellent one. And Rick, thank you very much for a really cool article. All right. Arthur the Cleric, the Broken Arrow Tavern.
Yeah.
Really cool. It's in Flandish on the road between Greyhawk and Hamlet, in the former territory of Narwhal. So that's a
it's in your home turf, kind of. Almost.
It is. It is in my home turf. So I'm gonna have to. Do I have to live in Greyhawk it?
No, it's
No, that was a joke. That means I have to destroy it.
Hopefully not.
I'm just kidding. So
it's a small little place with a couple of NPCs to throw out some adventure.
Nice. Very cool. A gruff ex-Harby Marine, so that's tied in real well too. The slightly shabby taverns are operated by Grimbold Longshanks, a native of the gnarly forest. All right, that is awesome. And look, this is I'm assuming a smaller article, and just a nice location you can just pull out, use it, and you don't have to use it where it's set. But for me, I would, because it's right in my wheelhouse there for my headhunters group. But yeah, and they got some other people. His partner. You got a lot of detail in here of all the characters that are running through here, which is nice. It is. And there's even an assassin here. So this is in first edition written up.
Yes, there are 5e stats at the end of the article where it'll point you to, like, in 5e NPCs usually have monster style stats. So like guard, merchant, whatever. It gives equivalents for those. But yeah, it's an AD&D and 5e article.
Awesome. Really cool. More cool artwork. Nice. I like it. Lots of detail on, like I said, on the those that come through or are nearby or live in the area. So, and also a map here. What's that say? Grey Death Dungeons.
Grey Death Dungeons is Paul Beal's little outfit. This is you'll see that a lot on his maps.
Okay.
The green zap, Paul Beal. He did this. He also did map for a scenario later in the zine.
Very suitable name. Yep.
Yes, you'll be seeing his work a lot in future issues.
That's so cool. Yeah, the name really suits the scene really well.
I like it. And
Grey Death Dungeons.
It's hand drawn, right? Like this is pen and ink, which I like. I mean, I like digital stuff too, but I love to include some hand drawn art in the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and like not everything doesn't have to be perfect anymore, right? It doesn't have to be that way. This is perfect. Like this is perfect in itself. It doesn't have to have completely straight lines and all for what you're doing it with. I mean, and this is, you could easily import this into a VTT too, and that's a great thing about it. So it's cool that it is done this way and it's written up, and especially if you want to. Like, I know there's a lot of new people out there like Kurt and Courtney and everyone who. They're looking for where to start or where to begin or what to use, and this is great. I mean, you just pull this right up. Yeah.
This little area, and then you could expand it if you wanted to. Like this could be the tavern where your players hang out, or your player characters hang out, then you can expand the little town around it.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're right near the gnarly. That's a well documented part of the world of Greyhawk. So there's a lot of resources that you can use. This would be a great campaign starter.
Absolutely. And then especially if you take a little other things, you throw in Rob Kuntz's Dark Druids up there, and you got gold.
Yeah.
So,
Go run some Greyhawk, guys.
Go run some Greyhawk. So
yeah.
That's awesome. Fantastic.
I won't say whom, because I don't want to put out stuff that people told me. Somebody's already told me that he's like, oh, I'll use this in my game.
Right? I think it was DM John just said that.
Okay, somebody else.
John D just set it up in Scroll, and John's been around a long time.
Yeah.
So he knows. Yeah. So that's cool.
Jay, is it okay if I eat? Should I close the camera?
I don't. Yeah.
No.
You're fine, man.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
I'll be back.
As long as you're not like the fly and regurgitating stuff. You know what I mean? So it's just like
no, nothing gross. I might eat an egg and some grapes.
Look,
that's good. Yep.
I have Ed Greenwood and all those other ladies on the other nights, all day and all, and gnome banging's going on and stuff. So don't worry about eating on camera, okay? So,
okay.
Yeah, we got yes, very cool. All right, so a great one, and now Mattias is up. I know he's listening in too. It better be on the meal plan. That's funny. So Mattias works with Wally Hobbit on Greycast. Which is fantastic. Who wrote that? Some dude, man. Prelude to War, Old Arity on the Brink. So we're going back to the Great Kingdom. Is that what this is?
It's Knurl, and it's actually not going back. It's going forward. It's 605, but it might be back
my gosh!
to you.
I'm so brain dead.
So,
I am.
so it's actually but please, Sam. Yep.
It's history from it starts a little bit before the Living Greyhawk campaign ends. It starts in 597 and it goes to 613.
Mm-hmm.
It's another 15 years of history.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's even better actually, because just to show what and I'm assuming. Matt, did this come from your campaign, or did you come and made a synopsis as to what happened in your campaign up to this point? So I'm just curious on that, like. With this data, because was it developed in the course of gameplay, or was it developed for gameplay? Makes sense on that question. Yeah,
that's an interesting question.
See, there you go. What will happen in campaign? So it's developed for the course of gameplay. Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah. I love this type of content because this ties into many political schemes and machinations and source books and stuff. That's why I like Carl Sargent's work a lot, because it was the same type of work as this is, so to speak. You explain the setting, you got the stories, the political picture, a lot of what developed why things happened and stuff in an area. So I will definitely take a close look at this and cherry pick a whole bunch of stuff from there. Maybe not all of it. I haven't read it. I've read it through once, but I need to read and think about each of the little things and steal a whole bunch of it for my campaign. So hats off. This is another solid article, I think. Yep.
I respect the hell out of it.
Yep.
You know what I liked about this one is it's history, but it's future history
exactly
by the timeline.
Yep.
And my bachelor's is in history, right? And so I like reading real medieval history, and then to read this fictional pseudo-medieval history was especially interesting. I thought the motivations of the actors involved and the scenarios were, quite plausible.
Yep.
But he didn't neglect fantastic elements, which was nice. It's definitely the world of Greyhawk.
Yep.
So it's a good article. Even if you don't use this background, it might give you some ideas for something that you were running in the Arity lands.
Yep. And Norca, my specialty and academic focus was in international relations, which is kind of very tangential to history. So that's why I love this type of writing too. It ties straight into it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
A question for you again, Mattias. I see a lot of names that are examiners in here.
Yep.
How many leaders' names because of deaths or changes or overthrowing, or how did you have to add in that are new, that are not known? Is it like a 50-50 split? Can anyone answer that?
I've only skimmed through it. all the leaders, meaning
None.
Lady Everly, Savener, and stuff. So he
Okay.
didn't invent major leaders are from lore, so to
Okay,
speak. So he
okay.
used the
Okay.
main actors here are from lore, so it's definitely
Cool.
firmly based in what we know, so to speak, from Living Greyhawk, Gazetteer, and Carl Sargent, and Evie the Undying,
Okay.
and stuff like that. So I can't verify that all of it
And-
is grounded, but it's well grounded in published Greyhawk material, so to speak, and then
Yeah.
extrapolated from there. That's my impression of it.
Go ahead, Les.
Yeah, Matthew, Mateus actually not only incorporates that, but given the mortality of humans,
Yeah.
he incorporates some deaths into his timeline, which I think is really
Okay.
neat too.
Oh, that's an
as you-
often neglected part, so to speak.
Yeah, that people get old and they die,
Mhm.
Right,
Yep.
right. Okay.
or they get sick. Things happen.
Mhm. Yep.
And thank you, Matthew. For that, Matthew ran some stuff through past me and Paul Luby
Oh, really?
when he was.
Yep.
hence-
Paul's
hence the thing at
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning when he the article, I think it mentioned something about thanks, and that's what
Yeah.
he thanked me again in chat. But yeah, I mean, this is all on Matthew. I share none of the blame. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. He had some marvelous ideas, and he asked really good questions.
Mhm.
I've got to say, and that's the other thing is another thing about approaching these articles is, there's always that thing. Ted Sturgeon, the great science fiction writer, used to have the expression "ask the next question,"
Mhm.
Right.
which is where you're taking something and you're trying to see where, as you're extrapolating onward, where does this logic lead?
Yep.
And I think Matthew was asking some incredibly good questions, and he explores them, and these are his answers. And I agree with you, Anna. I mean, even if one doesn't incorporate it wholesale, there's so much great stuff that Matthew cooked up.
Yeah,
And there's
and
so many ideas. Even if you disagree with one conclusion, you might say,
it's
"Well,
a great idea anyway.
I see it going this way."
Yep.
But having been but what triggered the thought was you're
Mhm.
interacting with the article.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think one of the headlines in the article is really interesting. That shows a lot the trials of leadership, and he talks about
Yes.
Everly and
Right here.
and her thinking and why she had to go one way or the other and stuff. I love that. That brings depth to it,
And
so to speak.
humanity
That is
to it, so to speak.
exactly, and so hats off. That it's wonderful writing and really good. That gives multi-dimensional rulership is much more interesting than one-dimensional. One is good and one is evil, whatever. That even the worst evil or the most good ones, they have dilemmas. They have things they have to that twist them one way or the other. There's always almost a lot of compromise in between what they do and stuff like that. So hats off. That's great. And yeah. Mhm.
I agree. I mean, it's one of those things where you have these nobles and great figures, and they can easily become mere quest givers to the adventurers, or functions to advance a meta plot.
Sideways. I should have
Mhm.
snipped this.
If you know
I'm
what I
sorry.
mean. Whereas here, he adds some depth. He adds character and personality and consequence, like to the personality behind
Yep.
the
Mhm.
title. And I really appreciate him. Like I said,
I
Matthew,
wish
great
I'd
job.
snipped it.
Yep. Definitely.
Wish
Another
I'd snipped it and turned it, everyone. I apologize for being sideways because it's that way in here. But
Yeah.
so who
It's how it fit. Yeah.
who's the cartographer?
I was
Oh,
just going to say it's a great one.
his
so, yeah.
name is listed in the on the front page, and I
Hang
don't.
on a second. I can
Yeah,
go back.
can you get it, Anna?
Yeah, I'll get it here. We have cartography by Paul Beal and Glenn Seal.
Glenn
Yeah.
Seal. Glenn Seal did this, and guys, Glenn Seal, you
Been
look
in
him
March.
up.
Yeah, he's done a lot.
Yeah, he's done a lot. He accepts commissions, so
Yep.
I think it's
Looks
okay
go-
for me to mention that, right?
Yeah, of
And it-
course.
yeah, and
Yeah,
this
so-
The style, yeah.
If you want a
Yeah, it
map
look-
like this, he'll make one for you. I don't
Mhm.
think his prices are unreasonable. I'm sorry, Anna, go ahead.
No, but he's probably much more reasonable than my prices. And I must say, this is
That's
great
true.
work. That and that ties into the Paiso Hawk map.
Yes.
This is very much in that spirit.
True,
I bet that
yep,
he
good
used the
point.
Pisohawk Greyhawk map as
Good point.
and then good guidance from Matt probably too in getting this done. Yeah.
And this is a style I really like because
Mhm.
it's a pictorial style map.
Yes.
But it's a hex map that, you know, it's very gameable,
Mhm.
right? It's a little bit less of a pretty picture than some maps I like. It's quite pretty, but what I mean is it has this nice balance between giving you a lot of information and presenting it in a visually appealing way that's
Yeah,
simplified enough that it
yeah.
doesn't
Yes.
overload me, but
Yeah.
not so much that it doesn't. It's just right for my purposes.
It's a reference
Yep.
map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very pretty reference map, and that's what I like about it.
Which is good. Definitely.
Like, look at his little mountains and hills there, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I meant by the pictorial quality.
Right.
You know, the
Mhm.
forest looks like a forest and not just a splotch of green.
Right.
It comes together nicely.
Mhm.
So, not
And
to
then
make
it's got the hexes.
not to do a
I-
bone, not to ask. Well, I'm going to ask anyway because
Yeah.
So Neural, I said that I asked Mattias, is that your campaign base, Neural? And he said, you know, he campaigns are yes. Is that the for everyone now the sexy place to go because it's like always changing hands and off over the years, and that's the cool on the eastern side of the map to, you know, campaign in. Like, cause Spine Castle's great, but Spine Castle's overrun. You know,
Well, I was going to say that Matthew plays in my campaign, and Neural is like a place of refuge after the adventures. Yeah. I mean, it's a great place to go. It's a great place, and also I think because of all the machinations going around Neural.
Yeah.
It's rife. It's rich with all kinds of possibilities, if that makes sense. From court intrigue to
cool
questions of succession to like the Bone March itself and the whole threat from the North Province. All this stuff, it just ties in nicely and offers such a variety of material.
Les, I've asked this dumb question probably 100 times. I'm so old I forget. Neural is technically in what country?
Sorry?
Lord.
Is it in North Province? Is it in Almore?
Ask the people of Neural which province they're in.
Well, that's why I'm asking that. So is it a free city?
I thought it was.
Depends on what era you're talking about.
It depends on era.
Well, error for this. Error that he did, that Mattias did this.
Oh.
This error. Where is it?
It looks like he said its own, so it's independent.
Nairon.
That's
Nairon
cool.
had it for a while, and if you read the Gord books, then the Overking is there trying to steal it, and that's one of the fights over it, so to speak, and Gord involves himself in neural politics. That's why he's imprisoned and stuff like that, because the Baron and is trying to marry his daughter Ivali to someone else in order to and Gord screws up and steals her and so it's part of the story. Yeah,
the period when most of us are playing, it's the county of Blemu.
Yeah.
So it's one of these situations where various factions in neighboring countries would like to claim it. Various people have had claims to it in the past, and it's in an obviously precarious position.
Yep.
Which is what makes it interesting. Does it get absorbed by one of the neighboring states? Does it get taken over by humanoid hordes from the Bone March?
Well, it's one of the most contested. It's like after Carl Sargent, there's 4 powers. You have the North Kingdom. You have since Innsbruck was after Carl Sargent screwed it up and so on, was ruled by Sevener and Karlstrand. You have Nairon and Bone Marsh. So it's one of these. It's like the Poland of the Flanese or something like that. Everybody wants to rule it, and from everybody, and over the centuries, it's been ruled by Northwest, East, South, and whatnot. So it's tough. Yeah.
And I was going to say that actually ties in. I've played in some of Matthew's games where it's still Nairon, I believe when I was playing with Matthew, it was still part of Nyron, and I've played in his, and of course in my campaign, it's Blemu and it's got an aging Duke, and everything is like on the edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of, there's all kinds of ways you can play.
Yeah, and Evely was handed over and took over in Ratic, if I remember correctly.
Yep, correct.
So that meant that the realm lost its first daughter, so to speak, and she was lost. So that opens up for interesting possibilities, especially if you have a feudal system. To lose your heir is that's like losing half democracy in a sense in modern day world. That's a big thing. It's like not having parties that can contest the next election or something. Yeah.
Well, Rex Salas, I think that Maddie's can answer that question about Evely. I'm assuming she's in the core books, right?
Yep, Saga of Old City.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought. And then...
She's a major part. She's
she's
Ford's lover, and
right.
she and it's actually one of them, and it's interesting.
Sad. It's sad.
It's a really sad story. Yes, it's a really sad story, and to me, it's interesting. It's both some of Gary's best writing and it's some of Gary's worst writing. It's best in the sense that I like the political machinations and the story behind it. It's excellent. That's I think is really good storytelling. But Lady Evely is very one-dimensional, and it was not Gary didn't he couldn't really present her with any sort of interest, so to speak.
See, the thing that I find interesting about it though is, and this comes up when Gelor re-enters the narrative, right?
Yeah.
You're getting it through Gord's POV largely.
That's true. That's
true.
That's a true
you
point.
Remember, he basically, when he finds out that she's going to marry into Ratic, his response is to call her a rather unflattering word. And Gelor basically explains to him, it's easy for you to call her that because you don't have this responsibility.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
It's good read for when you're like a teenager or 20 years old, and you the love of your life have evaded you. That's when you should read the Saga of Old City, and it'll hit you hard. So to speak.
Yeah, it'll hit you hard, and the bit where you're bitter about your ex, and then someone points out, well, they have their own life and their own duties and their own life, their responsibilities. Yeah, that'll hit you hard.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it's excellently done here, Maddie. It's great work, and you got a lot of.
And Matthew works her in. He works in. Oh, it's just great. It's a great piece.
Yep.
Nothing, LJ. We're not saying anything about being solo. Don't. That's funny. Really nicely done. So if you use this side of the map and you have some, you could just throw it in any time frame.
Yep. LJ, you should read Saga of Old City now and dig into it.
What you need to do, everyone, is I recommend it is get these books, especially the first two, right?
Yeah, the first two are published by TSR. They have
these are first. So
they are
Saga of Old. Saga of Old City,
Artifact of Evil,
and then Artifact of Evil.
Yeah, City of Hawks is another one that I think is.
Yeah, they're hard to get a hold of. You got to find them on eBay or whatever because they've been way out of print. Just note. Yes, sir.
I sold mine to Noble Knight. I had them both and I sold them.
How much?
Damn.
I don't remember, but they gave me a good price. I've always been treated well by them. I always take the trade-in value. Don't take the cash, guys, because you're just going to buy more gaming books anyway.
Right. See you, LJ. I know it's a 5-hour difference there.
She's got to sleep finally.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Last night. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love Artifact of Evil because I actually have Adventuring in Straykeep Castle, which is right at the beginning. So I actually have the.
And also,
set.
Jay, just a bit of Gygaxiana for you. There's an issue of Polyhedron where Gygax is talking about products that he's working on. He discusses how there's going to be a Gord short story in Dragon Magazine, and then the first novel will come out, and then Artifact of Evil. And he mentions that he's working on Sea of Death, although it's not called that at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that he hopes that he's planning to publish future short stories in Amazing, which TSR owned at the time.
Yeah.
The Fantasy magazine. So some of those short stories that you see, Odd Alley actually comes up as one of them.
Yeah.
Some of the short stories in Knight Errant were originally, they were stuff that he was planning to publish through TSR and didn't.
Yeah, and the third book, the Sea of Death, is really that it's a trilogy: Saga of Old City, Artifact of Evil, and then was supposed to be Sea of Dust, became Sea of Death. But those three are I think he wrote them all while he was still at TSR, so to speak. But the third one never got published by TSR. That's my guess, because they are so tied together and story-wise. The other ones are more out there, and the further down the line, the more out there they are, but they're still interesting from a Greyhawk perspective. Yeah,
absolutely. So I keep on multitasking here. Next, back to Troy, third article.
Yes, more kind of cool stuff
I love
here.
These.
Yeah. They were all related, Jay. Troy had all these C articles and none of them were long. And I said, we can put more than one article by an author, and if they're related, if they're short.
Yeah, sure.
So, and we had the material, I wanted to use it. So yeah, take it away.
Excellent. So, thank you, Eat to Serve. Please, everyone, give him a follow. He's got some great old style discussions I love to sit in on before my stream goes live on Thursdays. So here we go. These are items. Conch of the Tide Caller. Wondrous item requires attunement. That's a 5th edition thing, right?
Yep.
Yes. It's simply a way of regulating so you can't become like a Christmas tree full of magic items up the wazoo with whatever. So you have to, you simply have to acquire the trust of or attune you to one item and then lose another one, so you have a limited amount. I forgot in my head exactly how many it is, but there is a certain amount, and if you reach that amount you have to drop somewhere. You can still have it on you, but you can only use this many, and it takes like a long rest or something to reattune you to another one. You have to wear it for like an hour or something like that, and then you can start using it again. And there are certain more powerful items that requires attunement. So it's a way that if you're DM in 5e, you can create powerful items, and that way they can be like a ring with huge powers, but that means that you have to forego something else in order to
or not in 5e. This is
exactly, you can use the mechanics. It's an easy mechanic to adapt to any edition of D&D. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I think that it was I think they looked at 3rd edition Pathfinder, where you had slots, and you had like the head slot, the body slot, the finger slots and stuff, and it became very mechanistic and difficult, and it was open for abuse and whatever. So this is a kind of a simplified slot system, so to speak, and to make it easier, and you don't have to be going to anatomical details. And it also covers things that looks different. What if you lose an arm, or you're some sort of race that have 4 arms or a bunch of fingers or whatever, or something. So it's a more generic, abstract way of handling it that I think is actually a plus. Yeah.
What is everyone's favorite in this article?
For me, it was the pearls.
The necklace of Darkwater pearls?
Yeah.
I like that one a lot too.
Yeah.
But they're all good. I mean, I would use any
of
them in my game. But that was my favorite.
The silver filament of this necklace runs through 6 small pieces of red fire coral, each holding a pearl. 2 silver, 2 dark gray, 2 black. Sea creature summoning with each, I guess, right? So the being serves for 24 hours, and one such creature will be summoned and controlled at a time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and I gotta say,
sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was just going to say the conch of the Tide Caller, when you listen into the shell, is really cool to
that's really cool. And I was going to say that I also love, with the Coral Crown of the Seas, I love the when you go through drawbacks, because I always love when
negative things on,
something that balances out the benefits. Yeah. Like I love vulnerable to desiccation. That just rocks my world, man.
Nice. All right. Well, that's
the
great.
Faint, refreshing scent of a brine. That is that's really
I
cool.
don't know if brine's a refreshing scent.
It is for me.
Really?
It depends. Yeah. There's a lot of people who like, it smells like the ocean and the sea and stuff. So you put in some rotting seaweed and stuff into it, that adds
we're
to
not
the
talking
aroma.
about Swedish cuisine now, Anna.
No, exactly.
She's like, "Where's my rotten shark?" Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's
I
even
didn't-
worse. That's Icelandic. Yeah.
I didn't comment on that brine while editing it, and I figured that was just some quirk of Troy's and let it go.
Oh, it's real. I've heard a lot of people. I've relatives and people who live by the ocean. They swear by this. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, I live close enough to a bay. Unfortunately, I get too much low tide effects.
Yeah, yours isn't too clean though, right? Tell them which bay you live near,
I don't
Samwise.
think.
There's some.
I'm on Pelham Bay by
washed up
Long
in it.
Island Sound, so
Yeah, might not be. Yeah.
I'm not too far from the Sound either, though. I'm in Connecticut, and he's in New York.
Yeah, it's
What's
that
up, Van?
refreshing brine smell isn't too refreshing for me.
I can see it.
No.
Vamp, did you play in King Bashman's fundraiser yesterday? I was just curious how it went. So, cool. A lot of really neat things. So, if you find actual pearls, this is a neat thing. You can actually recharge the cast-off usages of them, the existing ones. That's neat.
Yeah, we put in the mechanic of how to do that. And these ones don't have as much Greyhawk specific material, but they fit very well with the other articles that do.
Right.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And you got a picture of it there. Nice.
He kept it nice and simple with the entries as, items usually should be, but they're very well done. And that's all Dan Smith art?
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's great as always. Yeah.
And Troy is in chat. I think he can answer, but I believe this was one of the articles where he just got some pictures, looked at them, and said, "What could this be?" and made it.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all, man. We all get
it's a great approach.
We get inspiration from different things, absolutely. In fact, for example, video games. We talked about it last night.
We did. I didn't even know that any of those D&D video games had that sort of extra material. I mean, obviously they had characters and stuff, but I didn't know that they had the extra material like the Avenger
Baldur's
Druid.
Gate 2 had a ton of stuff.
Is it LJ? Is that her name?
LJ, yeah, she just logged off because she's the one who lives in the UK. She has the Avenger, and it's a great class. And it's not the same; it's slightly changed, but it's great.
No, of course. Well, you're going to write it up for us, right?
Yes, I am. But as long as it doesn't go into the Altamir box set.
Well, understood. If it goes into the box set, that's
actually, I could because if I write it in 2E there, 1E, 2E there, it goes in C and C in there, it would be a problem. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we'll
a
talk
point.
about that. Yeah, we'll get that one done up. So all right. Troy with a 3-bagger there. So the Hedge Mage.
Yes.
So this is an interesting one because I see this article. I'm like, and it says that itinerant, usually him and wizard that wanders the Flanish.
I love it.
Same.
Yeah, it's great. Just in the name in itself, the Hedge Mage, and then the story behind it and the illustration and stuff. This is fantastic. It's that flavor that a lot of low level adventures and stuff really could benefit greatly from.
So, is it most of their spells are just annoying to irritate you? They're not damage dealers, right?
No, but if you have,
there's a folkloric kind of feel to it. These guys have helpful and tricksy spells, I would say, right?
Right.
Look at the flim flam stuff there. They've got some.
If you run a 0-level adventure, this is a type of NPC you want there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can boost him just a little bit, put in a couple of ordinary spells in there, and so he can be more than annoying. He can be deadly to a 0-level character just in case. As a last resort, you can put in a magic missile or something like that to just like, or some that he use as a magic item or something.
And I'm gonna say this is such an essential. The Hedge Mage is such an essential archetype is fantasy. I mean, you have hedge mages and hermits, and you can't go wrong with either one, man.
Oh yeah.
Just the idea of like the spellcaster who is not he's never going to be Mordenkainen. He really has no interest in becoming Mordenkainen, and he doesn't have access to the same resources that a a name magic user
Yep.
might have,
Well-
but he knows how to do some arcane trickery here and there.
Yeah.
And
Sam, go on.
if you think about it, he makes an excellent little encounter to add into Paul's tavern encounter. Tavern.
Exactly.
Yeah, good point.
exactly.
Good point,
Mhm.
Sam.
That's
And-
part of why I put them both in this issue. They fit together really well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Even more than that, if you look at him, his low level magic user here, the tavern's on the road to Hamlet.
Yep.
Mhm.
The hedge mage could be a alternative replacement for Spoon War in Hamlet.
Yep.
And I also think it's part of the rule system that has been missing, so to speak. Magic that ordinary wizards and sorcerers can do is so powerful that there should be something, a level between not knowing magic at all and be a full-fledged first level wizard. There is like a gap there that I think this fits
It's like
neatly into that.
the adept in third edition,
Yeah.
really, you know what I like about the Hedge Mage article? This is a 5e article that has a very old school feel to
So
it.
true.
Yep.
Yep.
But with these, with these mechanics that a lot of guys are using, right? 5e's very successful edition.
Mhm.
And it does something that a lot of 5e stuff I've seen doesn't do. So it covers a little gap there, like you said.
Mhm. Yep.
So, I find this amusing because it's like in the realm of Gandalf. Look at the languages suggested: Common, Rene, Backlunish, and Halfling.
Yep.
He's
Yeah.
going to
Mhm.
Halfling communities and tricking,
Yep.
showing them
Yep.
all his tricks.
Have him
Yeah.
turn up in Elmshire or something.
Yes. Yeah. That
And
was
it's
pretty
also
neat.
something you can use this as a template to make variants of it. You can
Yeah,
beef them up a
good
little
point.
bit. You can add in maybe
Stink
add in
bomb.
some shadow magic from first edition and tweak that into 5e and add to this, and you can get it more sinister stuff. You can take these and add some necromancy, and it could be an orc shaman or a goblin shaman or something like that. So you can use the mechanics and stuff from this article and blend it in with a bunch of others, and you get interesting flavored stuff that you can
And-
use in other stuff.
And you can use the D6 effects table as a template.
Yep.
I mean, I really love I love the
Yep.
marbles.
Mhm.
The greased marbles cracked me up.
Yes.
I love smoke bombs and
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
the tangle rope.
Gandalf's
and all that.
fireworks.
Yep. Mhm.
That's what came to
Exactly.
mind for
Yep.
me.
Yep.
It's a fine article that even if you don't run 5e, that table you could lift out. Like there's going to be stuff that's useful for you
Mhm.
here. But
Yeah.
I'd really love to hear about somebody's experience using this particular article in a 5e game.
You're probably going to be able to hear about one sooner rather than later, my
There
friend.
you go.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. That's great to know. But it's a really cool article. Really well done.
And then just because we love Paul's write-ups, Paul does a lot of these 5e write-ups. You got another one coming.
And because we're all closet Hextorians.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hextor! The Herald of Heck. Oh, by the way, that Eamon interrupted me with a Bigby related question, guys. He turned on his light after I said prayers with him, and he snuck out my copy of Treasures of Greyhawk and was reading, and he's like, "Wait, Bigby's dead? Why are we going into his house? He's not dead." And I was like, "No, he had a clone. He came back," and he's like, "But not as a gnome, Daddy."
So
That was the other time.
yes, I mean the Circle of Eight's been killed like 37 times, right?
I mean, guys, like, stop dying. It's
Yes.
Mordenkainen sends this into a tomb. He's like, "You guys check it out. I'm not going to be there with you. I got some stuff to do. Let me know how it goes."
Armin, that's funny. I like how Hexer's a god of fitness and evil Jane Fonda. That's funny. That's really good, Armin.
Nice.
So even
That's awesome,
Stratus
Armin.
gets mentioned in here. Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Pulls out the lore.
Yes. So is this a Scourges of Battle? This is not a priest. Oh, it is a
This
priest.
It has a priest, an acolyte,
Okay.
and the Black Paladin of Hextor, right?
So like a blackguard or anti-paladin almost.
Yeah,
close to.
I think we tweaked the name because I know 5e, paladins could be any alignment, but to me, a paladin is lawful good. So I wanted to throw in, but these are all written up by Paul, and that art there is Andrew D. Felice, who's I think I'm saying his name correctly, right?
Wow.
He'll correct me if I'm not.
It's nice. It's really nice
Yeah.
artwork.
Yeah, yeah. I love. Look at that. Look at his weapon though with the eye.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Right. So this is what it looks like. It's a brief description of Hextor, gives you the background fitting into the world, and then it goes right into these fully worked examples of villains, characters that you can use right away in your 5e game. Oh, and he has an acknowledgement to Joe Block because some material that Block had written helped inspire this.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Yep.
So you guys know Joe Block, right? Greyhawk Grognard. He does
Yep.
great stuff.
He's been on the channel several times.
Oh yeah, of course he has. Of course he has.
Yep.
I meant the audience, but they probably know him.
Yeah, you should.
They should.
Greyhawk Grognard. Google that and go there. He has a Patreon and a website and a bunch of downloadable stuff. So and
a lot of videos on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, that give scenario ideas in particular.
Yeah, a
I
lot
like to watch
of
those.
old. Yeah, he has deep analysis of old lore and stuff that are really worth watching.
Yes.
So you get.
And he has
into
cats that sometimes show up in the videos.
Oh yes,
that you watch.
you cat videos. Yep.
So what's cool about this is, and it's appreciated, he references William Henry Dvorak's, Paladin of Hextor, creating this.
Yeah, the Knight of Discord.
Knight,
Yep.
which makes sense. You got your lesser cleric here, the acolyte. So you got some options here on levels, and you got some. It's not just one pace, one class. It's neat. It's got some really cool options for it. So so it's it's
one.
Oh, absolutely. And he does get the arms. He looks like
Yeah.
the number thing he's got to have. Yeah,
Spectral arms. How cool is that?
Yeah.
These ghost arms appear out and start attacking.
Yeah. I love the fact that they're spectral, so to speak. They're ghost arms. I like that better than the real physical arms in the sense.
Yeah, because you're not Hextor. You're his servant,
Yeah.
right? So like the Lords of Evil didn't give you these arms grafted onto you, but you it's like a spiritual weapon spell that summons, like the hammer to strike
from
the guy.
your body. Yep.
Yeah.
It's great.
Because the original battle arm spell is right in Bastion of Faith, and that's where it comes from with 4 or 6 arms.
Yeah, which is a cool spell. Bastion of Faith is it's like a Greyhawk book that's not Greyhawk, but it totally is.
Oh yeah, Bastion of Faith. It was it's definitely Greyhawk.
It's just not labeled as such, but it is.
Exactly, it doesn't have a Greyhawk label, but it has the Knights of Protectors and things that are so obviously Greyhawk that it's crazy Greyhawk, but it's just generic 3rd edition D&D.
Bruce Cordell, right?
Yeah, Bruce Cordell.
I think so. Yeah.
Very prolific during that 2E and the 2E beginning of 3E era.
Yeah,
so,
but I guess it was also Greyhawk was the official setting at the time. So if it was D&D and that didn't have a Forgotten Realms label or something, it was supposed to be Greyhawk.
Oh yeah, I guess at the end, after
they changed it after 3.5. It was no longer the official setting, but in 3rd edition D&D, it was the default setting.
Well, this was 2E.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was the end of 2E after Wizards of the Coast bought them, so I don't know when that became policy.
Yeah, that's true. It was leading up to things. Yes.
Anyway, this is a really cool article, and again, it's ready to be played right out. And can you scroll back up, Jay, to show them the acolyte picture?
That's her
right there. Yeah, you know what I really like is, I think it's okay for me to say this. So Andrew said, at first I was gonna draw, sexy fantasy chick, right? He's like, then I decided, let me do something a little different with her. Zoom in on her face.
Yeah, she's got it's all messed up and more
bandages and stuff. Like, I mean, I like cheesecake as much as the next guy. I like a little cheesecake in my gaming art, but I really like this because this is a female character who just looks like a credible threat, right? I do not want to encounter this character in a hostile situation. She's going to hurt you. And so I thought that was fun that he did something a little different with it.
Cool.
I like the shield with teeth on it.
Yes, and the flail that's like sort of living, right?
Yep.
It's almost like a drow tentacle rod close to it.
Yeah.
Or Evard's black tentacles.
I particularly liked that piece and his reasoning, behind how he did it the way he did it. Sorry, I'm babbling.
That's okay.
No, it's good. I
got to take part in some of the art direction for this, and
fantastic. All right. One of yours.
Norker, up to now we need to know what's the story behind the Fell Slurper.
Okay, so there is a movie that I love. Now, Darling Creepshow, of course, got the movie reference. She was like tell me it's this. And I said, yes, darling, it is. Let's see if people in chat can guess what movie it inspired these monsters. They're not just a direct lift, but their attack form and some other things about them are definitely inspired by a particular film. I'll give you a clue. It's from the 1980s.
All right. Well, it's not Constantine, then. I thought for a second it was Constantine.
Goblin of Gygax. Nor got it, Norker.
No, you got it? Okay.
And so did
Beastmaster,
Lando.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you remember those dudes in Beastmaster that come and
they look like Raven. Yeah, they had the Raven beaks, though. I thought, didn't they? No, yeah.
They had kind of no face.
Right.
I mean, look, I didn't just copy it, right? I started to do a conversion. I said, let's make it an original monster. So I changed some things. These aren't identical, but they're very much inspired by them. And they have a very similar attack form. They wrap around you, they digest, they liquefy you, and then they slurp up, leaving your bones and metals and stuff behind.
Nice.
Yes.
So in first edition stats, it looks like.
Yeah, first edition / second edition. AD&D stats.
Cool. Fell slipper may be mistaken for a man wearing a dark feather cloak and leather mask in good light. No one can mistake it for a human. That's cool. So I'm assuming they're highly evil, and yes, digesting victims is really. And
you can't get good luck casting raise dead on what's left of your buddy.
Yeah, it's more like
right. That's mentioned in there.
Yeah.
That's the nasty thing about them. They're organized into cults, right? So like their leaders are cleric types.
Okay. Good thing is they're not super high on hit die, so air effect spells can take them out. And
yeah. They attack by surprise. These are like sneaky monsters that creep up on you. You could really use them in like a horror kind of scenario.
Hope you're feeling better, Chuck.
Yeah.
So I love them. That's great, man.
I'm obviously partial to them. Right.
Yeah. I'm just thinking how to convert them into my house rule 5e. I'm thinking they should have like a debilitating, like paralyzing or something like that when you attack them, and then they can do ongoing, just to be able to incapacitate you and then liquefy you over time or something like that.
But that's really nasty. I mean, they weren't. Well, they didn't have that in the movie. They're
supposed to be nasty, aren't they?
Well, I mean, it depends on how time passes in your so for AD&D, because it's like minute-long rounds, it's basically, I think I have it modeled as a saving throw, right?
Yeah.
And like a lot of saving throws.
Yeah, it will be like that they inject poison and then you do ongoing poison damage.
Right.
And if you die from it, then you're completely liquefied when you die or something like that.
It's similar to that.
Yeah.
You can read the mechanic in there. The mechanic works well for AD&D, I think. I've tested them
exactly.
at the table.
That's why I had to think about a tweak. So ongoing poison damage or something like that.
Right. If you have rounds that are only a few seconds, it's going to take a little longer.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to do enormous amount of damage. Otherwise, that's not really realistic. So,
right.
So an ongoing poison damage might work.
Yeah, that could do it.
Yeah.
It's essentially they basically wrap around you, hose you with digestive enzymes, and then slurp you up.
That's why I think that should have something that paralyzes you for a few rounds. Otherwise, you will
in a multi-round
more than high level would then the slurpers would not be able to.
I would give them your swarm attack, Anna, instead. Surprise swarm.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Need to be many.
In the movie, they surrounded people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the way I would go. But
it depends. You can make them powerful, meaning that if you are the lonely wonder and they get you, then you're basically doomed. Or you can also make them less powerful, but then they will only hunt in large groups, and then expect.
And these are definitely a social monster.
Okay, then you make them. Yeah, then you make them.
They have a good intelligence rating. They work together.
Yeah.
They use the tactics are outlined in the article, so I make it easy on the DM.
So,
that's
in a weird way. They remind me of Sturges. Sturges have one hit die, but they attack
like
4 hit die
walking
monsters.
Sturges in that sense.
They do, and Sturges are really nasty. But one blast of or even a burning hands or something, you could kill them all. And that's kind of the same way I feel with them about them.
They would pair nicely with them. They hang out with bats and stuff in the article. Sturges would be a good variant to use.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I want to just throw in here the discussion that we're having now and that some people are having in chat. The cool thing about this is, like, it's a messed up creature. Okay, this really screw with a low level or maybe even a mid level AD&D party. But when we start getting into discussions about like how long a round lasts and getting into discussions about like how the slurping ensues, if you will. This is a great example of how you can take some of these articles that are for specific editions and then start thinking about them mechanically in terms of other editions.
Yep.
Yep.
And adapt them.
Yeah. And what I wanted to
Or
say
to
is
your
that
own
there
needs.
exactly, and I wanted to say that there are different ways you can interpret this into 5e,
Right.
depending on your style of play and also what niche you want and there might be there might be more powerful versions of the Fell Slurper that can paralyze in order to
you can do an advanced version.
Exactly,
I'd love to see 3e and 5e stats in
Yep,
particular on these.
Yeah, and you can have low level ones that just poison you in the ongoing, and there must be many of them in order to overpower you. And then there might be slurpers that can take you out very quickly and debilitate you quickly, and then liquefy you.
The greater
so to speak.
slurper.
Yeah.
Cleric spells, like, because the slurper leaders have clerical abilities, they silently cast these spells with their fetishes in there. What if one casts hold person on you?
Exactly, or
right?
and silence to make that the screams are not being heard or something like that too. So
you guys you think about the worst ways to kill people, don't you?
Oh,
I like scary monsters.
You have
come
to
out of the dark and do bad things.
Exactly.
To you.
As a DM, you have to be vicious.
Just find your buddies smoking torch on the ground.
That's why there's no problem. But people say that 5e is not deadly.
Sorry.
That's all right.
No. I was going to say, Anna, exactly. People say this edition is not deadly. This edition, Here's my thing. I would just say, I'm going to quote James Earl Jones in Conan the Barbarian. Now they will know why they fear the dark.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
That's a good one. That's a great quote there, Les. Absolutely cool.
Yeah. So it's a great creature design that especially has a lot of potential, and you can do some really cool 5e conversions of this, and it's a really cool theme. I like it. Yep.
Yeah. So convert them, guys. I'd love to see stats for 3 and 5e. Post them on your blog or whatever. Link to the zine. That'd be nice.
Yeah. I can see 2 variants. I'll see if I can
use them in your game.
5e Yep.
All right, well, Sam, you got a monster article.
Yeah, here we come to Sam's.
Yeah.
Let the heresy begin.
I see Rothane in here right off the bat, which is impressive. So,
why
don't you tell us about the new Circle of Nine article?
Well, the main thing is, I was, I guess, anti-inspired by the Big B incident. Also, when Rob was hanging out with us a couple months back, in particular, and talking about how he felt about how Robilar had been treated, and it just really got me thinking. Let's do something. Let's remove people's PCs from the circle.
Got it.
Let's give them a real high-end Hollywood D&D ending. Let them have some peace from whoever might want to come along and pull an old school deities and demigods. I killed Zeus and the whole Norse pantheon on them.
Got it.
Let's not do that. So they retired, and it's not a completely new circle. Jalarzi's still there, and because of quirks, she is effectively the senior member. She's been on the circle the longest.
Okay.
Theodane Ziason is the oldest. He's an elf.
Right.
And then Warnis Starko and Alhamazad the Wise. They were brought in after
by Roger Moore.
Yep. And so, as was noted when the circle was discussed in the LGJ 0, Theodane, Warnis, and Alhamazad don't really like each other. And I expanded on that a little. Okay. Jalarzi, of course, is way more lawful good. And then I looked for some lists of other wizards and filled things out. Rothine, yes, from one of the Wizards 3 articles by Ed.
By Ed. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I borrowed Ed's NPC, and I decided, she can inherit Mordenkainen's citadel up in the mountains.
Okay.
Lauren is an utterly obscure character from one of the collector's cards.
Wow.
Back in the day.
Okay.
But she's a wizard. And she's apparently, off from the on-wall Iron Gate area, so she can be Bigby's replacement. Two-Odd Fent gets mentioned in Blackmoor, and if Nistel was around, or whoever was, or Quail, he's a Flan, so he becomes the Flan representative for Nistel. Then our Draken is another even more obscure character from the old Book of Wondrous Inventions.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
But he's a wizard.
Right. You're looking for at least named wizards, and you're not making up your own. I got it.
I actually thought Sam had made him up at first until he pointed it
No,
out. And I own the Book of Wondrous Inventions on PDF, and I had totally forgotten about him.
And the thing is, I gave him a completely bizarre origin. They never admitted him. He just showed up. Nobody knows how or why. And then they realize, and then now they can't figure out a way to tell him to go away.
You missed Lord Brezen, Rich is saying.
And okay, and then the final member is Evard, because
really
they need to have balance, so they picked an evil guy because the rest of them are neutral or good aligned, and they said, okay, let's get an evil guy so we can at least know what evil's thinking. But really, a better choice would have been Raedric of Alyssa.
Okay.
For a truly evil wizard. And one of the things I did with these choices is pretty much all of these people, well, not even pretty much, all of these people are expendable. If for some reason you want to have somebody from your campaign become a member of the circle, you can off any of these people. They're minor NPCs. They're not that important.
Right.
Pick one, retire them, kill them, replace them with a PC.
That's a great point.
And because I don't like, we've talked about this. I don't like NPCs with, total immunity to player, to player ingenuity. And some other alternatives were suggested to me by Rick Miller, Dewey Carthen. Malden is a possibility if you want.
Whoa, look at that.
Whoa.
Or Rick's character Malekith.
Yep.
But they may have reasons for not wanting to join. They may have reasons for wanting to join. The retired members, I give them nice retirements. Mordenkainen and Bigby, they go off. They're hanging out with Merlin and Kiana in Dungeon Land.
I see you mentioned in here Cheyenne Stormhand. How about her? Too low?
I think so.
Because she was like 12th or 13th in From the Ashes, so I'm thinking she. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think I'm not really sure why I didn't pick her. Just maybe I just
that's cool.
Somebody else.
Yeah, it's just there's only so many wizards you can think of, that are, out there. So
yeah. Tensor's gone off. He's pretty much in retirement. Ottos and Robolar have gone off.
Yeah, I see it
in retirement. So you know what? Nobody, just leave them alone.
Right.
Yeah. Drawmage went his 10,000 hexes beneath the waters of Earth. Yep. If you can figure that one out. There you go.
10,000 leagues under the sea. Is that what you're talking about?
There you go.
Yeah.
He went off to Gloro Amag as the third warden.
Big B is in there, yes. Well, that means that Little Bird's character is going to end up fighting him and banging him because that's because she's got a habit for doing that in my game. So there you go. Yeah.
But then you get to the last section. While I was going over all this, looking at all the lists of wizards available, it struck me we need to have a Marvel evil villain group?
Or Legion of Doom.
Well, the heptagram of evil.
Nice.
So I picked the most evil and craziest evil, and really they're all on the verge of being completely insane.
Right, right.
Obsessed with killing one member of the circle.
Yeah.
And okay, and most of these should be recognizable. Prince and the Sly is yet another guy dragged out of the Book of Wondrous Inventions.
Right. Look at all these. You even put Jaren in here, the black one. Wow.
Yes. Yep, he's in there.
So Evard's in both.
Yes, because
That's
Evard
funny.
is that evil and that treacherous. He's actually in both. And Everett wants to kill Jaren for using the black in his name.
Right. Okay. Wow.
Copyright infringement.
Yes, he's upset. And so it's kind of a toss up for him which group he betrays.
Yeah. I like how you have Merc in here. So
Merc brought Merc out of retirement.
Scrotum. Yes.
Yeah. That's
and
cool.
So it brings the circle, I think, a little more down to earth. Or earth. It makes them people that can really show up in the campaign, really be interacted with, gives them bad guys, rivals that you can kill. If you can track down Thessalar's Phylactery this time.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And or like I say, it's circle members. They're nobody's NPC. You don't have to feel bad about letting players get rid of them. Or letting them die as the heptagram succeeds in taking one out. So your PC in your game has an opening to join.
I see here Eli uses Kellic, the guy from X.
Yeah, with the wolves
and Age of Worms. Yeah.
Is that? Yep. Wait, which guy does he use?
Kellic, the dragon chess champion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
He's a seeker.
I dug him out.
Different guy than I'm thinking
He's a seeker.
Similar name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I noticed him and said, okay, he's got to be mentioned. He's not strong enough to be a member.
Right.
He's good enough to be a flunky.
Yeah, well, being a flunky is not too bad.
I also love that you use the word heptagram, which just it's a real word, but it also seems very Greyhawk, right? Very it's like something Gygax would have put in.
Very cool.
Sam's tribute to Gygaxian prose.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I like how you retired all those, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, but it's so cool where you retired them too. That Mordenkainen and Bigby ended up in Merlin's estate in Dungeonland. That's
which makes sense because they're friends, right?
Yes.
I didn't know that Merlin had an estate in Dungeonland.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Okay, cool.
If you played the module,
I have the module somewhere, but I haven't read it since 25 years or 30 years, whenever it came out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Merlin has. Well, Merlin was Don Kay. Keanu is Tom Keogh.
Mm-hmm.
Friends and family of Gygax. And I might even note that I consider a lot of these people, the retired members, prime candidates to be up to quasi power, hero power.
Yeah, quasi deity.
Oh yeah,
or
Mordenkainen definitely should. Be
They're on the road.
Yeah, immortal at least. Yeah,
they're personages.
Yeah,
right. So that's something I've done with another project of mine. It's like dig out those names from Dragon 71. Promote them up to hero power.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great article, man. Thought-provoking, too.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Think of some stuff for your future. Everything does not have to be static in your campaign. Just note that. And that's a way to make some changes. There's nothing wrong with that. And you're like, oh, but I'm ruining canon. No, you're not. No.
I don't even have a Circle of 8 in my Greyhawk. Like, it doesn't exist as an organization.
I have it as an organization, but it's very minor compared to. It's not central to my story at all.
The wizards exist.
Exactly. Same here, but
mine interact with Jalarzi and Tensor for the most part. My adventure groups, like the Iron Brigade, that's who they interact with.
Yeah,
so,
I have it more like
not the actual circle.
Yeah, I have the
So-
circle as more as a social club for powerful wizards to show off and say I'm part of it, so to speak. They can
Cool.
meet occasionally and stuff. It's not a super meeting. It's more like it's a discussion club more
Yeah.
than anything. Yeah. Mhm.
The Wizards 9 instead of the Wizards 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Or in
Yeah.
my campaign, basically, it's just my players have interacted with agents of theirs before, but never
Mhm.
actually encountered any of them directly.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
gotta go still. I'm
It's
just
all
seeing
background.
time-wise, we're gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit. I see here. As
Oh,
we're-
sorry.
Yeah, it's
I
okay.
probably
It's
babbled too
okay.
much
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, it's good. We're having a great discussion here. Les, wonders and
Yes.
oddities of the planet.
Yes. Now we come to another gem here. Yeah.
Go for it,
There were-
Les.
There were two things. One thing I want to throw out there is that Wonders and Oddities of the Flyness, I'm hoping, will become a feature. And I talked to Norker about this and about how we used to love Bizarre of the Bizarre in Dragon Magazine.
Yeah.
And we used to love Treasure Chest, which is where Roger Moore published some of his first stuff back in White Dwarf. And basically the compilations of little things. And I was also inspired by under Bizarre of the Bizarre in Dragon Annual 3 and Dragon 271. They had Falcon's Bazaar, right, which was the Pale Falcon traders and the wares that they would bring from throughout the Flyness, and one of them was nothing but food, which I loved.
It's up there.
Food and drink. And the thing that inspired at least the first piece there for me, the Amulet of Lover's Protection.
Mm-hmm.
There's this bit in the Dragon Annual Bizarre of the Bizarre that mentions feasting armor, which is where armor is disdained in the Keoland and in Iran, but they've adopted the custom of wearing these basically steel neck braces to prevent garroting and other forms
Be right
of
back.
assassination.
You guys keep
and
going.
they become a form of fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, Keoland. Well, back in the Sul Imperium, there were probably a lot of attempts at assassination before things got settled down. And probably assassination was a concern. When you look at some of the stuff about the Arcana Max and stuff like that, and skulks and Sioux doppelgangers, a lot of intrigue going on. So I was like, if you had, how would you, if you had a lover who was potentially going to be assassinated, how would you handle that? And in this case, you would have someone fashion for them an amulet, which would protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And it would invoke Weejas, and yeah, that was the basic premise for that first item. And I want to point out, this has been play tested. I used it with one of my characters, one of my player characters, early on in one of the campaigns. They thwarted an assassination attempt and came upon one of the assassins had stolen one of these without knowing what it was, and so the PC had to try and figure out what this item was.
Yeah, and this could tie into my campaign back in the day when undeath became fashionable in various parts, both by the Flan and Soul, and especially the Flan and the Soul had their undead. When a lot of rulers wanted to become undead because they can rule for eternity, and it became fashionable, so to speak, and they a lot of these undead lichdom and stuff was discovered and started use and stuff. So this ties into as a sort of defense from ordinary people and others against a lot of stuff. So this is cool. Yeah.
And I drew also a lot on some books on amulets and medallions that were worn during that had prayers, like from Roman times, medieval times, where they would invoke this god or this goddess to perform this task for the wearer. And I was thinking we need to tie in also just the idea of relationships, because that way, if it belonged to someone in ancient times, and the only people who know the name that you have to speak to activate it would belong to that family, it would be part of that family's legacy, that will require the player characters to have to do some research.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to go beyond mere adventuring. It's like, this item is magical, what it does, but to unlock it, you've got to go, as I suggest, go to Keoland's Silent Tower, go to the Sages Guild in Safeton, perhaps go to the Great Library in Greyhawk, and you've got to do some research, or you've got to find someone with connections to a family. And there's no guarantee that when you're snooping around trying to find out what the provenance of this item is, that you're not going to draw the attention of a family that wants that item. It's their heritage, and you have stolen it. So that was my thinking on that one.
Some cool artwork added in with the items too here.
And
we found that.
The blessing of the last breath kind of ties in. It's a kind of reminiscent of the sheltering ancestors from the Oath Journal that Jay used in his show. It's the idea again of I wanted to give my players access to enchanted weapons, but I was tired of swords and stuff like that, and I was like, what about clubs? What about bows? What about like shillelaghs? So I was like, here is a tradition that you can work into your campaign, and I love the idea of a sentient wooden weapon. There's something like fundamentally cool about that to me. And also the idea that many of them were destroyed because of a misinterpretation or a deliberate propagandistic move by successive generations of Aerdi and Sul. Basically they don't tear apart a tree, they tear apart the person's body, and so forth. So I kind of like that. The gastrolith is kind of a gag item, but it can lead to some great side quests and misadventures. A merchant who's about to get married in a few months is desperately insecure and hires the player characters to go on a quest. You've got to find a Gorgon, and you've got to recover one of these stones from its stomach, or its intestines. And so the players go on this quest, and if you have rules in place, and there were rules in Dragon Magazine back in the day, different editions have different rules for harvesting animal parts or monster parts. Hopefully they can recover it. If they screw up, well, imagine the patron going, well, I'm not going to pay you. You have to find another Gorgon. So that was my take on that. And then finally, I guess my other thing with Starstones. Again, I wanted to tie in this idea of family and the idea that something could be stolen and bring it down. Even whether or not it's true, someone might steal the item just to make the family think that it's cursed. And then they want that item back, because otherwise their firstborn might die or whatever else the calamity might fall. And I wanted to tie in as well the idea of stuff falling from the heavens.
Another non-magical item. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and so going forward though, I've got another few of these cooked up. And I also want to suggest, please, if you're out there and you have an idea for a magical item that's not overpowered, and maybe it has a use and then it has to recharge, or a use and it's spent, or a food item or something with flavor, submit it and we can throw it into one of these.
It only needs to be as long as it needs to be. You don't have to write an entire article. That's what he was talking about earlier. Bazaar of the Bazaar very often had multiple authors, just like Dragon's Bestiary often did, right? Treasure Chest in White Dwarf was a miscellany of items. It might have 5 or 6 authors, and the submission might be 100 words. If that's what you need to describe your item, use it. So don't feel that you have to send me a big long article. If you have an article full of items, go ahead and send it. But this is a great way for people to get into the zine.
I think we got 2 articles left, so we're gonna
we'll do them quickly.
Burn through these. This is an adventure, right?
Yes, this is an adventure I wrote. Paul Beal did the map. We probably shouldn't give too many spoilers for it.
Terror of Blue Rock Mine, and so
just cover your ears if you don't want spoilers, guys.
We'll just read this. While traveling in the backlands of northern Almor on the way to Inspa, your party just this morning entered a hamlet marked on your map as Blowdon. Nobody is in sight. The only noise is the wind. And so it looks like we got some things in here. I think I see stuff that's related to something else that you did. Yes, but we can show the map here, which is really cool too, right? Look at that. Nice stuff.
And I have tested this at home, and so my kids were able to survive this adventure. So if you guys get killed, I just want you to know you were beaten by grade school children. No, it's not competitive. It's not competitive like that. But it can be a tough adventure. It can be a tough adventure. So the DM should read it carefully and decide.
Right.
They mentioned getting criticism about not killing player characters. I just want to let you know this is one where it could go south in a hurry, but it is level appropriate.
Right. 42.
Yeah, it's a lower level adventure.
Right. Okay. And read that at your leisure because we don't want to give any of them out. So that's on the show here.
I'd love to get feedback from other DMs that have run it.
Cool.
Like Jay when he runs it. Maybe.
Yeah. You never know, man. It's just I don't have
AD&D, Jay. So.
The thing is, I don't have any groups that are for second or third.
No.
Sam, I just want to throw out Sam. I love
it would be a one shot. You could do it that way.
Uh-huh.
You like
I really love the map stuff because I'm into maps and treasure hunting and all kinds of things like that.
Oh yeah,
medieval letter writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
These map tricks and things is it's awesome, Sam. This is fantastic.
It's
stuff.
great, and it's edition neutral, guys. This is a generic. We do support for different editions. We do dual statting. We also have some articles like this where it's just a D&D article, but you could use it for any fantasy game.
False inset maps. I've never done that.
I played with the idea of doing the pieces of maps that you have different colors, so you have to basically put the colors together in order to get the whole picture and stuff.
Yep.
So this is fantastic.
If you're of a certain age, you should recognize the inspiration for the false inset maps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we got.
So this is it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a really fun article on treasure maps with one that you could base a whole campaign around.
Yeah.
I popped that out so Troy couldn't, have all the fun doing stuff on the seas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it tied in because there's some seafaring and island stuff with that main map that's in the article with the magical one. I thought it tied in nicely enough with Troy's Mariner that we opened the issue with.
Yeah.
That I could excuse another Samwise
Pieces
article.
of 8 map. One of the most notorious treasure maps is the Flashes of Pieces of 8 map. Huh. But it has 10 parts.
When you read on, it'll become clear why.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. Oh, because there's fake. All right. I got it. Oh. Nice. Yeah.
And it's really an old school AD&D treasure map. More than one though, and it leads you to
That's cool.
I don't know what does the DM want to put there. How about some of Troy's magic items?
Yeah. You give some suggestions and some variants. I love the combination thing, right? Where you put the scales in different ways and it gives you coordinates to different locations.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
And there's a legend about what if I acquire all the treasures, right? What will happen? Will I get something? So that's what I meant about you could run a whole campaign based on people trying to acquire the pieces of this and you're going off finding these individual treasures. You got to get the next scale and work it in. Some Indiana Jones stuff in there, maybe.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Well, there's a name drop at the end for Drax.
Yes.
And the Fiend Sage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, and you put in a lot of locations where this could go to, which is really cool.
Yeah, I can spill a bean that is. I used it's similar kind of a tangential idea in my Shieldlands campaign, and this is a kind of I'm spilling some beans to my players because they saw it but they missed it, and there was a Dragotha face painted in the location, the Dragonhide Caves. That is actually a map to the lair of Dragotha, but in order to scare off anyone to go there unworryingly, because it was the survivors that were hiding in there, so they made sure that only the people that were really up to the task, so to speak, should be able to see it. So they have a spell that on the map that you get fear of dragon fear when you look at it, because the painting is magical. So you get it's like dragon fright. So when you see it, and it instills, it's like an illusion. But if you get over that part, and the characters that they just looked at, it looks awful and evil and all of that, and then they were like, oh, it's some painting, and they ignored it. But there is actually a map of that you can find the way to Dragotha's lair there, and they wrote it, and they made the map back 1,000 years ago when Dragotha was a way of for the survivors to tell future generations where to go look. I'm not going to say if it's accurate or not still in my opinion, but it's there.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you put all the author bios together, it made sense, so that they were easily found.
Yeah.
So very cool.
And I love the little image with the desk with the globe and a little dragon reading the books. Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Give people a heads up for the next issue. I'm going to need a couple pages of bios because you know how I said I accept short articles? I think I have 14 guys in the next issue because some of those are single pager articles.
Right.
Right. And then some are longer. But we're going to have a lot. So if you guys like this first issue, just wait for number 2. It's going to have a lot of variety.
That's fantastic.
This one had a lot of variety.
Oh, it did. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is, I'm really proud of our premiere issue. I thought everybody involved did a good job, and we have some great articles. You're just going to see even more authors, a mix of short and long pieces in the next one. We're off to a good start here, though.
Yeah. And again, I want to emphasize, Jay, your Sewell Rose article will be in that issue. So
nice.
Yes, and we have art for it from Andrew D. Felice, Jay. So if you
nice.
like that guy's style, he's got a really nice, I won't spoil by describing what it is, he's got a really nice image that he's created for it.
That's really cool. I mean, I was just drawn to that right out of Greyhawk Adventures because there's really no detail whatsoever about anything, and then let's develop it all, and that's a great thing. Yeah. So how often we doing quarterly?
It looks like it's going to be quarterly now. Now, when I say that, I want to be clear. We publish stuff as it comes to us because it's not commercial. Nobody's getting paid, right? We haven't set a definite. We have internal deadlines, all of which we've met. I expect there to be 4 issues next year, though. Now, I definitely am getting enough material to fill that many. Yeah, Samwise laughs because a good chunk of it's come from him. But I expect it will probably be a quarterly, Jay. It could be 3 times a year, it could be 5, but quarterly sounds about right.
Awesome. Looking forward to future publications because this just grows the base of information and the wealth of knowledge to someone, especially someone getting into Greyhawk, where they can just go and pull something and feel confident that it has the backing of the community and it's fanon, and so you don't have to worry about utilizing any of the stuff, or you may be able to use it in some other story you're writing and not worry about the hammer of the evil empire coming down on you.
It's free, right? Because Wizards of the Coast owns Greyhawk.
Yep.
It's their IP. But they're very cool about letting fans make free stuff. And this is a free resource for you.
If I get my act going, I'll have a joint Ed Greenwood /me article coming up.
Yes, nice. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes, it'll be on Ed's Silacra deity and my reworking of Silacra into my Doom Grinder reworking lore.
Doom Grinder.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Jay, I think it's a good time to point out that, again, it's not rivalry or competition. There's enough material and enough creators out there where we want to make sure, and we applaud anybody else who's creating, anyone else who's doing their own thing. Bring it out, man. The more material is available for Greyhawk, created by fans, by people who love the setting and have an appreciation of its history and its intricacies, the better. And the better the resources available to newcomers as well.
Yep. And as I said to somebody, we don't own the world of Greyhawk, right? But fans are the people really keeping it alive and developing it. But because we don't own this stuff, there's no pecuniary interest or anything like that. It's just make what you love. If this is the gaming that you want to do, make that material and publish it. Put it out there for people to read. And people to use at the table, and then you'll get feedback from them. It'll be great. So,
your idea will inspire somebody else's idea, and so on.
Yes.
Yep.
And by all means, though, of course, I do like to get material for our zine, and we have plenty. I can use more. And if I get it so much that this 40-page count is too light and I need to go up to 50 or whatever for an issue, I've cleared that with layout, right? We can make larger issues. I also want to, Jay, if I have a minute for this.
Yeah, sure.
If you are an artist, if you make maps or if you draw pictures, we could use you, right? Because we've got writers, we've got some artists, but I could always use more art. And this is a fanzine, right?
Yeah.
So even if you think your stuff like, oh, I don't know if it's professional quality, everybody has to start somewhere. We don't pay you. I don't get paid. None of these guys get paid. We're doing it because we like it. But send us your drawings, send us your maps, right? Even if you have a really nice Greyhawk, fantasy drawing, and you don't have a particular thing in mind for it, you could send that to us. I could show it to a writer, and he might make something based on it. Les, didn't some of the pulps used to do it that way?
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole tradition within genre material of people doing that. I mean, it becomes more a collaborative or a group kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you can even think, I mean, I always think when it comes to the Greyhawk stuff, I think of Lovecraft Circle, and I think of stuff like that where you have people who are taking ideas. Exactly, Yog-Sothory. You throw the idea out there and someone else takes an idea and someone introduces something and then someone else refers to that in another work. And it grows into this forest. From a few seeds, you wind up with a forest.
Yeah. So read the guidelines, guys. We put up the WordPress site, right? Sam, should we post that one more time? Or can they see it in there?
Do it one more time.
Yeah, do it one more time. This is where you guys can get the first issue. We've already got the second issue written up. We'll make some adjustments. It hasn't gone through layout or anything yet. That'll be out in the spring. And yeah, I have enough material. I expect that we will do summer issue. People send us more. We'll do one in the autumn, winter.
Awesome.
We're going to have a great year for Greyhawk fans next year, guys, because it's not just us. There's all these other people working on things too. Come to Jay's show if you want to hear about it. It's a great place to catch up on the news.
Absolutely. And, with the 50th anniversary coming, it's going to be a busy, busy year. So
Very
busy
cool.
that I have not gotten started on 2 projects I got to get working on. Hey, Jeremy, here's Gamescape. Thanks.
Nice.
Jeremy will be at GaryCon, by the way, everyone. He'll be there with tons and tons of. If you saw that wall I had up on my table last night, the entire gatehouse, he'll have one of those there too, because it will be in that same location for one of the adventuring groups. Yeah, the one that's Bill painted up. I mean, that thing's huge. It's just great stuff. So I know I'm babbling here.
Not as much as I did.
No, it's okay. It's okay. That's what it's all about. So. What have I done for Greyhawk lately? I don't know, Troy. I just had DM for 9 freaking hours yesterday. How's that sound? Yeah. So, that was fun. So why don't we do some quickie shout-outs, and then we'll do the giveaway, and then we'll rate into Darling, because she's got a finale event, and we promised we would. Greyhawk Rebooted is gone, and that's all we'll ever say, because we know nothing about why, when, who, how, or what, and out of our, they were never part of our community. Yeah, they were not part of our community to begin with. So, yep. So, Anna, what's going on?
Well, soon there will be streams this upcoming week, and since we have Legends and Lore going
Tuesday,
exactly. So I'll try and cover Wednesday in the stream. I can't promise that I will start at 5 because I'm out and about a little bit, but I will try and be back by 6 at least, and start streaming, and I will stream mapping stuff on Friday as well as usual. And I'm also working on a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm trying to get together by next week my yearly big post talking about what I've missed and stuff that I screwed up with, but also stuff going in the future and next year and stuff. So I want to unveil some projects for next year and some teasers and stuff. So there will be a 2-parter at least on that one. So I'm working. That's the big thing I'm working on when it comes to that. And I'm also working on way more Crit Wall stuff, because my campaign is first part is wrapping up. It took us almost 4 years to get there. So we played a month in my campaign. I've taken 4 years to play, 56 sessions. But now we're finally going to have a Need Fest, and it will be cool. Need Fest. So it will be very appropriate in time. So I'm making the location for that. And one of the locations is Katarina's personal stronghold in Critwall, and where her seat of power is, the commander of the Knights of the Holy Shielding. It's actually an ex-Hextorian temple that they took over after the Hextorians were forced out or left when the Great Kingdom abandoned Shieldland, and Shieldland became its own, so to speak, or vice versa, was thrown out. So there will be a backstory of this building and a thorough kind of I'm doing the dungeon maps and all the building maps and a history and a walkthrough of the building. That's coming next year. That's one of the stuff that I'm going to tease this, and I will show a full. It will be fully decked out and stuff and shown at GaryCon. So that's one of the things that I can stat out. And it's a new example of something I'm getting into, not only large areas, but even buildings, with both the history, the layout of the building, and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Very, very
That
cool.
was a little teaser. Yep.
Sam, what do you got going on?
Well, as mentioned, Norker's got stuff to Grey Grimoire for me. I did a count a little while ago, 150 pages in Word right now. And at my rate, by the time he gets all of that out, I'll probably have another 100, 150 to add to that.
Yeah.
That's not including other small stuff, that I probably have another 100 or so that may show up in other places.
Yep.
It's great stuff, guys.
Yeah, great work.
I've been editing it, helping him develop it. It's really cool.
Full look at all the races of Earth, of the Flenays, cosmogony, history before the twin cataclysms. I turned my heresy on Furiundi, and I have rewritten Furiundi. Niron may be next.
Interesting.
Awesome.
That's cool. That's super cool. Thanks for coming on, man. Really,
we might do some of those as specials or something. We're going to publish all of it. Like, it's a lot of material.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's great material though. It connects together.
Les, what do you got going on?
Oh man, I've got several pots on the burner right now. I've got some stuff I'm working on for future issues, which include a Greyhawk specific vampire variant, and a Bacloonish magic item, and with some lore attached and some other things. I've got my campaign is currently on hold because the holidays and people getting sick and someone having a baby. So I'm working on fleshing that stuff out, and I'll also be doing shortly another installment of the Appendix and an adjacent podcast with Wiley Hobbit and our friend Mateus, who was here earlier. And this one will be the Imperial Gothic episode, where we'll be looking at some of the classics of late Victorian literature: H. Rider Haggard, Bram Stoker, Arthur Machen, so on and so forth, including some obscurities, like some of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's supernatural stories. And we'll be looking at how those influenced Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft and other Appendix N authors who we'll be considering in depth. That way we'll have some background and we'll be able to look at how these ideas were transmitted through this literature into the pulps and eventually into D&D and to the world of Greyhawk. So all that coming up.
Les, as always, thank you. And thank you for all the advice you gave me on our Tuesday. I reached out. It looks like Alan Growy's going to be in on Tuesday at least, so we're getting there for that.
Anytime, man. Anytime you need any help, feel free. And it's always a pleasure and an honor to be on you.
Oh, thanks, Les.
It's awesome.
Thank you so very much. Lorker.
The zine. The zine is all. Zine and editing Sam's heresies that will go into the zine. It's a full... It's a big job. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. We've got a great staff. If anybody out there has some editing experience or, just likes to edit and wants to join, that's another way you can help out. But this is it for my big gaming project, guys. It's this zine. You're going to be seeing a lot more of it over the next year.
And I want to say, Norker, just personally,
yes,
you did a hell of a job, sir. Wrangling those cats, herding those cats, and getting them together.
What's up, Stronghold?
And then Lee did a great job of making the cats look pretty enough to present to the public. So.
Oh yeah. No, that's my plan. My gaming focus for the next year is this. Anything else I do is just personal stuff on the side. Like, why am I messing with Star Frontier stuff? Because I love Star Frontiers. Maybe I'll send. I might send Star Frontiersman or Frontier Explorer rather an article at some point. It's a good time to point out we're not there's a lot of fanzines out there, and I encourage anybody to contribute to any of them. Not just Greyhawk stuff, but other games, other systems, other worlds. It's a great way to bring people into the hobby and to just multiply the material available for GMs.
Great advice, and thank you so very much for putting this together. It's been awesome. I really appreciate you all coming on. So, real quick, here's what's going on this week. I think it's wrong button. Shit, I wrong buttoned it. We won't go to the Tim. The Tim tongue removal. So, Legends and Lore, because I am away on Wednesday night, is Tuesday, and it's early. 7 o'clock, not 8, 7. 7 to 9. Thank you for all the wrong buttons. Tuesday. I do have a Stream Deck. That was with a Stream Deck, Brown. Look,
This is
Stream Deck. Because
nice.
it doesn't matter. Yes. Castle Greyhawk Ruins, Lore, and History. It looks like Alan Groy will be joining us. I asked Eric Mona. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. But Alan's good enough. We're talking about early era, so I know we're gonna be talking like Bottle City, right? And Ruins of Greyhawk, the second edition one, and go back there. So yeah, and that'll be fun. And that'll be Tuesday from 7 to 9. All right, and then I'll have a game Thursday. And probably a Gabbin Sunday. I'm not going to have. I think this Saturday's an off. Got to be an off week for me. I got to get a lot of things caught up for the holidays. I'm going to try to have one more Saturday game before Christmas, if possible. So when do I sleep? Very rarely. So I got a long work week coming up ahead with a new job, but that's what's going on. And some other quick things. Malden has. We're going to do this in January. I don't have a date set. I think maybe the 10th. The first Sunday we're going to celebrate Malden's 25th anniversary website.
Yes.
We didn't do that in 2023, but so we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. So that is coming. Okay, so just note that will be a show upcoming within the next couple weeks after the holidays. All right. Another thing, if you were I think Sunday is the 7th. Yeah, that's the one we talked about, right? The 7th. Yeah, I think that's the date we're shooting for. So, yep, that is that's the Malden way, man. So, Dennis. All right, if you're in the Philly market, I have a code. Finally, because I asked for it. For all, if you tickets are $65 for the entire weekend for Page Philadelphia Gaming Expo. Notice both Joe Block and I are VIP guests here. So is Frank Menser, Jeff D. Chet Winton is on here. So it'll be it's a first time. Elaine Cunningham that are going to be at this, and this is at the Greater Philly Expo Center. So it's outside Philadelphia, west of it in Oaks. That is 5th, 6th, and 7th of January, so the first weekend of the new year. So that's a $15 off coupon. So if you're in the area and you're considering it, I'm running Horton Hools. I got a How to Stream seminar, and also have a Greyhawk seminar with Joe Block. There you go. So if you're around, check it out. That's enough for tonight. Let's do the giveaways, and we're going to rain the Darling, and I'll probably watch Eagles lose tonight. I don't have a good feeling. Never did tonight, so but that's okay. So that's why I'm here. Let's go. Exclamation point drawing. You get your choice of two of them, one compilation max, like a Scarlet Brotherhood and a Bone Hill. Patrick, I got some more from you here. I got U1, U2, D1, D2, D3, L1, some treasures. Thanks, Patrick. I just got them. So
nice. That's a nice lineup.
Yeah, always nice stuff. Plus, the stuff is piled up. So, yes. I got all the other giveaways going out except for I'm still working on the NBA ones. I don't have the codes yet. And so that's driving me a little crazy. Here we go. Let's see who wins this. Unremarkable Flesh Bag, I think it is. Grats. Let's make sure you're on and claiming, and we will... Yes. Okay. So get with me on the two you want. I would always recommend D1, 2, and 3 together because I have them now. That's that is the way to go, man. Because that is the Bible. D3 especially is the Bible for anything Vault of the Drow and Greyhawk. That's the way to roll it. So thank you all. What a great show. So I hope you all remember Tuesday, not Wednesday, this week coming up. Okay, for Legends and Lore, and 1 hour early, and let's raid into our friends there at Darling Creep Show. Going with about if we go in with over 80, she'll be over 100, which would be great to see. So all right. Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was
Yeah.
awesome, and thank you so much for a wonderful first issue. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, will I hit a wrong button again? Probably. Good night.
You will.
Oh, no, I didn't this time.
Good, it
Yay! Oh,
You have
once a
contact.
show. Only once a show. Only once, so.
worked. Nice.
Stream manager. Gonna set the raid up. Raiding in. Alrighty. Getting there. See you in 2 days. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone have a great night. See you Tuesday.
Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
all.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Now, that was fun. We're
Yeah.
live still. Are we still live or are we cut?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I gotta turn it off for a second here. Give me one
That's
second.
fine. I wasn't going to say any naughty words.